Right, I believe we're live. Good evening, guys. There's 22 in the chat. Welcome. It's Saturday night. Who have we got first? Damien Simmons. Damien, I thought you were... Hang on, let me just turn this sound down, guys. Hang on. Saturday night. Who have we got first? Damien Simmons. Damien, I thought you were... I've got my lips on even moving. Let me just turn this sound down, guys. Hang on. That's it. What happens, there's a delay with YouTube, and if I forget to turn the sound off, then I get it back to me in 10 seconds. I think we're all working properly. If you remember last week, I had to end the stream. I had a few problems with the backdrop. It's still not perfect. If you look at the background here, I've got a green screen, but if you look at the right-hand side, there's a bit of a speckle thing going on. That's all to do with lighting, I guess. I'll have to try and get some better lighting for next week, but we're getting there slowly but surely. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Right, so how are you guys all doing? Okay, so yeah, back to my original question there. Damien, you're in Buriram, aren't you? So you're 7 hours ahead. So surely it must be, what time are we now? 9 o'clock, so 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Is it 4 o'clock in the morning where you are? Hi to Maria. I think it's Maria. JJCD39, welcome. Chris Folk and Seamus Doherty. I'm sure we'll have a load more people along a little bit later. I've got lots of things to talk about tonight. I've printed out quite a bit of stuff, done some research, but we'll hang on for that. Are you guys hearing me okay? Can somebody just let me know if the sound's there? There's actually a 10-second delay when you type a message. Diligent Crab, good evening to you, sir. There's a 10-second delay, so when you actually send a message, when you hit enter, I don't get it for another 10 seconds. So, okay, JJCD, so we're all good. So, yeah, I'm really happy this week. If you remember last week, I had a bit of a sweat on because I started, I got it all set up like this, and then for some reason I wasn't getting the chat come through, but it's through now, and I think we're good to go. So it's Saturday night. It's been a nice day in the UK. Let's just say hello to a few more people before we get going properly. And for a little bit later on, oh yes, the Kronenberg, nice and cold. I won't start that just yet though. Okay. Right, before I go on, I just want to say a big hi to, well, shout out really to Tony. I'll probably pronounce this wrong, but he knows who he is. Tony Rakonik. Thanks, Tony, for the beers earlier in the week. And today it was David Krause, I think it was. So to Tony and David, thank you very much for that. It's well appreciated. Okay, so who else have we got with us now? We've got Paul Hoskins. Damien, thanks for that. No name, hey Peter, all sounds good. Nice background. I might be changing this background a few times. It depends how many ladies we have. If there's any, I know we've got one lady out there, so I don't want to offend anybody because I've lined up a few nice pictures just to sort of remind you of what you're missing in Thailand. We've got Maharia there. We'll probably have a couple of others later. Right. Well, I'll give you a taste of what we've got. So just imagine, you know, this on a Saturday night. If you're in Patio and you were sitting at a bar, wherever you are at the moment, I don't know what you're looking at when you look above your computer screen, but if you were in Patio, you might be looking at a scene like this. This should change for you guys in about 5 seconds. Any second now. There we go. Okay, but it's a bit early for all that, isn't it? So let's change that back to something a bit more respectable. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what this is now, what you're actually looking at now after that other picture, there's this is a hotel room in Patio looking out. I don't know which hotel it is, but the background's all Patio, and I'll change it throughout the evening so it doesn't get too boring. Okay, who else we got? We've got 66 people in the chat now. That's good. Mark Richards sounds good. The Goody, 1963. Right. Damien, steady. Okay. Darren Drew, it's not Swindon. I don't know what you mean by that, but must be responding to somebody else's comment. Yeah, okay. So I think we can crack on now. And don't forget, if you guys want to bring up anything, if you want to talk about anything, that's the whole point of a live stream, isn't it? You can start a topic going. So if you want to talk about something, then just fire away on the old comments and I'll get into it. So just say hi to Paul Brown. He's in Edinburgh, a bit cold up there, I would imagine. Nice day today, though. Hi to Bottle Baby. Okay, so what I want to do, because I'm now doing this every week, rather than just come on and start, talking about the same old thing and answering the same old question, I think it's quite important. I'll try and make it fun, but I want to try and introduce some features throughout. We'll do what we did last week. We'll just chat away, have a beer and all the rest of it. But I want to bring in some regular topics. So what I think I'm going to, and you'll have to let me know as I do these regular topics, if you think they're boring and you don't want to hear them, you let me know. And if you think it's a good idea, then if you encourage me, then, I'll do it. So I'll just give you can go look at all this stuff yourself. But if you haven't, then, if you're sitting there having a beer, this is information for you. So just a few of the currencies against the baht. This is as of today. So the pound's 42.43, US dollar 30.47 satang. The Australian dollar is 23 baht and 45 satang, Canadian dollar 23.92, and the euro 36.79. So I'll probably do that at the beginning of each stream each week. Like I say, you can look it up yourself, but just a bit of information for you there. A nomad overseas, good evening. Hi. Is it true they're increasing the speed limit to 120 km? What's 120 kilometers in miles per hour? It's probably about, is it 1.1, 1.2 miles? Is 1 kilometer? Getting all tongue twisted here. 1.2 kilometers, I think, is 1 mile. So no, I haven't heard that. Hi, Keith Morris, Raymond Barnwell. Hi, Peter. So if we could go to Thailand and have a COVID vaccine, but just the first vaccine, any news? Still right. Okay, so yeah, I have got some news. So normally the last 3 streams I've done, this is only the 3rd one. I'm just sort of getting into it now because it seems to be settling down nicely. But the biggest question that comes up, and in the comments on the videos, people are always saying, oh, when can we get back to Thailand? Do you want to take a guess? Do you know when? And I'm like you guys, I don't know when we can get back to Thailand. But saying that, there's some light at the end of the tunnel. So before I read this today, I'll read this out in a minute. It's very short. Before I read this, I always thought, like, you guys, I just guessed, when it first started, I thought, well, it can't be more than 3 months, and it can't be more than 6 months, and it was a year. Then I thought, but this really is, I think this really is light at the end of the tunnel. So let me just read a couple of things I printed out for you. I've abbreviated them so they're real short because it's not a news channel, obviously, but this is to do with when can we go back to Thailand. So one of the headlines today was international travelers allowed transit in Thailand from Monday. Okay, that doesn't help us, but they're sort of starting to ease up a little bit. So obviously transit flights can come through. And they're saying international travelers will now be allowed to transit Thailand from Monday after the Civil Aviation Authority relaxed measures. Thailand reports a drop in infections. Regulations are being relaxed on domestic travel as well. The authority says operators of domestic flights can resume service in-flight meals, drinks starting from Thursday. So that's already telling me that if they're starting to let foreigners transit through the country, whereas they weren't before, it means they're starting to let go a little bit, aren't they? Very little bit, but it's like a ball, that you just push off the top of a hill. It will start really slowly, but then it will gather. And there's another little snippet I printed off for you. Tourism officials aim for vaccinated travelers to enter Thailand by the 3rd quarter of 2021. And then it says vaccinated with a question mark. You might be able to enter Thailand by July. The country's tourism officials are now working on a plan to allow foreign tourists who have been vaccinated to enter the country by the 3rd quarter of 2021. Thailand says the kingdom must agree a vaccine passport policy in June in order to welcome foreign tourists by the 4th quarter of the year. So, yeah, a little bit light at the tunnel there. So what I'm getting from reading that, it sounds to me like definitely 100%, but well, nothing's 100%, but it sounds like it's a good bet that by October at the latest. But if you get vaccinated and they start to relax a little bit because their infections are coming down, then maybe they'll let us in under certain conditions. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Hi to Franco. Pete Hopkins, 75 miles. England's a small country, isn't it? So if you're in the UK, we're all probably not too far away. One guy was on the chat last week. He's actually literally, I'm not exaggerating, he's about half a mile from my house. Don't want to upset him. Okay, Chris Jones now. 120 kilometers is about 80 miles per hour. Okay. David, hi Peter. Do you know if conscription in the army in Thailand is compulsory? Do you students have to join the army when they are 19, 20? I don't actually know, because I've always been a bit of an old fart when I'm in Thailand. Even when I first went there, I was over 30. And it's just something that's never came up. I know. Does anybody else on the chat tonight know about this army thing? I don't know. Just back on that thing about light at the end of the tunnel. I actually had my jab this week. It's really good in the UK. They send you out a text and they say you're welcome to book online. It was on my mobile, obviously. I just clicked a button. I made the appointment. A week later, I went. And so, some people have had side effects. Some haven't. Some have had different side effects. I was a little bit nervous about that. I did have some side effects, but they only lasted kind of like a day where they were bad, and the next day just slightly. And I'll tell you what they were. When I had the day I had the injection, my appointment was 11:30 in the morning. I went, had it. He seemed to stick the needle quite deep in the, normally when you have an injection, it just goes under a few millimeters. Well, he seemed to go right in quite deep. That didn't really bother me too much. But in the morning, the next day, it really felt differently to any injection I'd ever had. It felt like somebody had punched me in the arm. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. It really felt like that. And it was quite painful. And the after effects, as it was, that I had, knackered, absolutely tired. I felt really tired the next day. And I was supposed to work that morning, the next day, from having the jab. And luckily it got cancelled. And I'm so glad it did, because I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't lift an arm. I was just really absolutely drained. The next day I was kind of 80% okay. And I'm okay now. But I have had the jab. So they've said I'll have another in 12 weeks. So let's see. Maybe I'll be on that plane in July. Let's hope so. Okay, we've got 100 in the chat now, and we're only 12 minutes into it. So let's say hi to a few more people. Chris Jones, I'm 48, had my jab 3 weeks ago. I had 1 day heavy fatigue, then after that, no problems. Chris, that's exactly what I had. Do you know which one of the two you had? I had the, pronounce it properly now. Is it the Pfizer? Not the AstraZeneca. It wasn't that one. It was the other one. So maybe you had the same one as me. I've just answered yours. High five. Damien, Peter, still waiting to get back to Buriram. Been waiting 14 months. Yeah, you did say. Get back on the Silver Bird with my family. So, Damien, is your family back in Thailand then, and you've been in the UK for 14 months, not being able to get back? Is that the situation you're in? And if yes, whereabouts are you located in the country? Not your exact address, obviously. Just your where. I just wondered if you're fairly close to me or far off. Shinrana, hi to you. D-Master, hi. Andy Essex. A lot of water-based injections are painful. Yeah, I don't really know too much about it, really. There's a lot of conspiracy. I don't want to get into the whole this subject too deeply, because YouTube don't like it, for one, and it's just like I said last week, that's all you hear now on the news. It's just rammed down our throats. But I'll just say that this is something a little bit different. So obviously, when I spend a lot of time on the internet, I don't really like watching TV too much, unless there's something good on, like the serpent that we all were talking about last time. But anyway, I don't like to talk about it too much. But I've read a few conspiracy theories, and some of them are ludicrous, really. And one of them was saying that they were injecting microchips into everybody, and it was a way of controlling the population. Another one said they were injecting. It was the reason they were injecting, because when they pulled out the needle, they were going to collect everybody's DNA, because they wanted to put absolutely everybody on a worldwide computer base, so they could have this DNA database. What else did I read about? Just various conspiracy theories. Yeah, you're waiting as well, are you, Keith? Pete, when you come back pretty soon, hopefully. Had the jab. Yeah, just all these conspiracy theories. And I don't know, it just seems a bit far-fetched to me, because at the end of the day, if you think about it, these would have to be organized by every leader in the world without anything being leaked out. And I just find it a bit far-fetched, to be honest with you. And, you always get conspiracy theories. It's like the moon landings. They never happened, did they? But, yeah. Okay, Damien, you live 20 minutes from Brighton. Okay, nice part of the world. Right, Spartacus 666. I think your nose has got bigger since you had the vaccine, Pete. No, I don't think so. Always been the same. Chris, yeah, I had the jab. No side effects except I hate Bill Gates' voice. All right, I hear you on that one. Yeah, V, that's a really good point. V's written, we're all going to need a vaccine passport. And I was talking to a friend about this the other day. There's quite a few people in the UK said, no, I'm not going to have it. I know people have died from the vaccine, all these conspiracy theories, like I said to you, and they swear blind they're not going to have them. But I think this is just a personal opinion. I mean, they're like backsides. Everybody's got one, but this is mine. I think what will happen is eventually cinemas, restaurants, pubs, bars, whatever you want to go out to, they'll all start opening up, but they'll put a restriction. They'll say, yep, we're open. You can come in and have a drink. You can come in and watch a movie, but you've got to show your vaccine passport. In other words, you've been vaccinated. And what will happen is people who refuse to get vaccinated, they're just going to be alienated, aren't they? They're not going to be allowed in anywhere, and they'll get forced to do it. They're either going to have to live like hermits or they're going to get it. They're going to have to get it. Okay. 112 in the chat now. Welcome to everybody. I've got this new bit of software now. Let me see if this works. Hang on. Hey, oh, look at that, look. Technology. Right, I think it does something else. That's a static message. Yeah, I've been playing about with this all week after last week. Digital Crab, 97% take up the 90% take up of the oldies, just brilliant. Go. Okay. Did anybody you know, I put out the relationship stories on Saturday morning. I put out 4 again this morning because every time I get to the end, I think, well, I'm going to have to stop soon because I've only got 1 left. And then I suddenly get a flurry through in the week. I got a little bit of flack on 1 or 2 of them this morning. Not much. I'll tell you about it. But have we got anybody watching who's actually watched the video that I uploaded today, the stories? I'll tell you why, because 2 bits of flack, really. So if you did watch it, the first story, it was just a guy's experience when he went to Thailand. He went to Thailand and he'd never been before, and he'd done a lot of research on the internet, and he was just telling the story about when he got to Patio and what was going through his mind. It was exciting, and he'd seen all these girls running around, and he was just sharing the experience. And then he was going on about, he continued later on in the story about how he met one girl, and he didn't, you know, he didn't want to sort of arranged to meet her later because it was the first girl he'd spoken to, and it was just it's just his story, his experience, and I thought it was okay, and I read it out just as he you know, sent it to me, and I had a couple of people write in and say, oh, that was a bit boring, nothing actually happened, I was waiting for something to happen. And you know, the thing is, it's like I could change them, couldn't I, and edit them down, or think, oh, I don't like that ending, I'll say he got shot or something, or he got jumped on by a gang of ladyboys and molested, something like that. It'd be a lot more interesting, I know. But you know, the word soon gets out, and before you know it, they're not true stories anymore, and I don't want to fabricate them, you know. And then the other one I got was what was it now? Oh, the second one, you know, the really long one. The guy, he starts off in Vancouver, then he went to Singapore, and there was a whole build up of the story. It was quite long, as I say, and eventually he landed in Bangkok, and it was quite a good story when he was in Bangkok. But I had a bit of flack on that as well. Some people said, oh, you didn't have to, you know, tell the bit about Singapore and you know, all this, because the channel's supposed to be about Thailand. But I don't know. What did you guys think? Did you watch the videos? Okay. Oh, Sparky, yes, I watched it. I like the one, if you watched it, the one about the guy. He was on an air base in Udon Thani, I think it was, and that was in I think it was 1971, and he said no, I won't get into it because I don't want to be too. You go off and watch the video. It was cheap, put it that way, 1971. Right, hi Peter. What's the most you would pay for a bar fine? Well, I wouldn't really, because I'm married. My wife's from Korea. I mentioned that before. But if I was single, okay, let's not be prudish about it. Doesn't mean I have to do it, does it? I don't know. At today's rate, I guess it's quite expensive now, isn't it? I suppose. I don't know, beer bar, 300 to 500, Goga bar, I don't know, 1,500, 1,000. I don't know, it's not something I sort of do. Scott, yep. I wonder how the Canadian guy got on in Patio. I'm really looking forward to that because although the guy, what I might do actually, to be honest with you, I said all that about him in Singapore and I didn't want to edit it out. But what I might do, it was a well-written story. And at the end of it, I actually wrote to the guy and said, look, I love this story. You got to Patio, then you just said, I'll save that for another day. Can you send it to me? Because I think it's going to be a good story when he's in Patio. But if he starts off where he's in, I don't know, he's gone around temples and all that in Thailand, I might cut that out and just get straight into the nitty gritty, as they say. Right, Anthony Jackson. I enjoyed the one story. I just wish we would have finished it with the rest of the story. I enjoyed the one story. I just wish he would have finished it with the rest of the stories. I'm not really sure what that means. Scott, yep. I wonder how the Canadian guy got on in Patio. It's something to look forward to. I think it'll be a good story. I'm just going to go back through these, see if I've missed anybody. Yeah. Lars Bo Hansen. Hi, from Copenhagen. Loose Feet Adventure. I watch all of you, look at your vlogs. Yep, thanks for that. It's funny, every time I suppose people do get bored with them because of what I've found lately, the last sort of 3 to 4 months, when people subscribe to your channel, you get numbers. So you can see every morning you come down, first thing you do is check your numbers, answer any I always answer comments. I try to answer every comment if it needs an answer, or at least I'll heart it, you know, put a heart on it. And but what normally happens with me now is when I upload it, when I upload a new video, like on a Saturday morning, I'll get 5, 6 people that unsubscribe. So I'll start off like this morning. By this evening, I had 5 less than when I checked it this morning. But over the week, new people come along, discover the videos, they like to watch them. But I suppose it's like anything, isn't it? I've bookmarked YouTubers, and you know, I thought this is great. I mean, I stayed up till 4 in the morning once watching this one guy's stories. I was kind of hooked, and then I don't watch anymore because I just got bored. So it's understandable. Yeah, Darren, that's true. You can only read what people send you. Like I say, I could change them and make them a little bit more gritty, but I don't want to do that because if you think about it, these guys sit down, they write the story. It could take them all afternoon. They check it, check the spellings, everything. And I say check the spellings. Sometimes when I get them, you think they're just, you know. I think it'd be a bit of an insult for me to kind of change it and chop bits out. And the only thing I change on the stories is sometimes people use slang, and for an international audience, they might not understand it, and I change that. And sometimes, like that first story today was very, very descriptive. I mean, he was going on about how he felt when she bent over the pool table in a black mini dress and what she was doing with 3 fingers to entice him from behind the bar. Well, I can't include that in a story. I've just kind of sneaked that in quick. But, you know, I have to get rid of all that and then kind of replace the words with nicer words. Okay. Dickie H. Hello from Los Angeles. Rancho. How do you pronounce that? Kukan. Ah, terrible pronunciation. But hi, Dickie, anyway. Welcome. Paul Smith. Stupid conspiracist. You are already heavily tracked and controlled. ATMs, credit cards, cameras, computers, on and on. The media machines control thinking. Yeah, I mean, we live in the modern world now. I think they were saying in London, they've got so many cameras in London, you can't actually, you can walk across the city and you'll always be under a camera. But a lot of people don't like it. It's all down to the privacy and everything. But the way I've always looked at it is, if you're not doing anything wrong and you've got nothing to hide, why worry about it? I mean, I'm not bothered if people are looking at me on a camera. I'm not walking around the streets naked. If I did, they wouldn't want to look on the camera. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's like people who break the law. They're always looking over their shoulders. If a car pulls up outside the house, they'll creak open the curtain to have a look because they're always nervous. But if you work, or you're honest, you don't break the law, and you're not worried about a police car turns up, you don't give it a second thought, do you? And it's the same with the cameras. If you send a comment and I miss it, I do apologize because there's a 10-second delay, and sometimes when I'm talking I miss them, but I try and go back. So just send it again. Thanks, Damien. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from the stories. I don't mind if anybody comes on and they want to say something that's a bit negative, but in a nice way, if you know what I mean. If you just, I don't want somebody to come on and say, you're just a fat idiot or something. That doesn't really sort of, you know, it's not really positive, is it? But I mean, if there's something about the stories you don't like, you think, oh, they go on too long, or they're not long enough, or there are too many bar girl stories, or whatever it is, you can tell me here. You know, I'll take it on board. Chris, the court has no connection to EU as far as I know. Okay. El Asa 400. I presume that's a bar fine. V, is Jorge the next Patio? I don't think so. I don't think it's the next Patio, because nowhere's going to be the next Patio, is it? It's do you know what? I've always made a big deal of saying I don't really like Patio that much, because I'm 61 in April, and it's a bit too much for me now, all the noise and everything. But I don't know what it is. The last sort of couple of weeks, I've been kind of wanting to be there, not to go in like go-go bars and stuff, but just it's just the buzz around 5 o'clock, you know, when you go out and the sun's just starting to go down. It doesn't cool down in Thailand, but, you know, think back in your mind, you're on the beach road, you're walking along, it's just starting to cool down slightly. The sun's going down, the bars are just starting to liven up. You've got all them beer bars, all the games are getting played, the Connect Four, the blocks. And it's that certain atmosphere that you only get in Patio, nowhere else in the world. You don't even get it in Las Vegas, you know what I mean? It's just that atmosphere of Patio. And I've been kind of missing that for some reason. I don't know why. I was there last year, actually, and I've now decided that when I go back, as much as I love Hua Hin, I think I'm going to go down to Patio for a few days and just reminisce, walk around, have a few beers, and just see, you know, maybe it's not going to be the same, you know, the digging up Walking Street and all that. But we'll see. I'm sure you know what I mean. If you're a regular visitor to Thailand, you probably feel the same. Right, D. Sanchez. This is a popular subject now. I can't get rid of it. Go-go bars up to 2,000. I heard of a go-go bar in Phuket charging 3,000 baht for a bar fine, but apparently they're all stunners, and it was a very popular place. But then, you know, Phuket is it's I was going to say maybe or probably, but it is. I've been to Phuket a couple of times. It's the most expensive resort in Thailand. And it depends what you want to do. Patio is not Phuket, is it? Anthony Jack. Sorry, that said he would more stories to finish it. Yeah, I didn't understand that, Anthony. Anthony, you said sorry. That said that he would write later with more. Oh, I get you. You're saying you're sorry. You're sorry that he's going to write back with a story about Patio. Is that what you mean? No, I'm looking forward to that myself. Right. Nick Rogerson, how did you meet your Korean bird? She's about 56 now. She'd love it if you called her that. No, my background is hotels. I used to work for international hotels, and I worked in a hotel in Busan in South Korea. And my wife now, she was 19 when I met her. She used to work behind the reception desk, and just went on from there, basically. 32 years kind of became habit. And people sometimes ask me, how can you get to go to Thailand by yourself? Doesn't your wife mind? No, she doesn't mind. I had a business where I used to buy things in Thailand and sell them in the UK on eBay. Actually, it was quite good for about a year, but you can't do it now. It's all sold directly from China. You just can't. In the end, I was selling, do you know Sampeng, Chinatown? They sell lots and lots of things, but what I was specializing in was anything to display jewelry. So, you know, when you buy a ring, you get a nice red box and you open it up and there's a felt nylon felt inside, or not high class jewelry shops, because they have the displays specially built, don't they? I'm talking about sort of pawn, not pawn shops, or second, you know, small jewelry shops, mum and pop shops, market stalls, that sort of thing. So if they wanted to display, say, some chains, they'd have a nice black velvet, I don't know what you call it now. It's a stand, and you put the chrome or gold chain over it, and it looks nice. And, you know, you can buy them. I used to buy them for about 100 baht each, and they stackable, you know, because those things stand up like that, and they've got a little stand there. So you can stack them up like that, and I'd bring back 100 of them. And at the time, I was buying them for 100 baht, and I was selling them on auction and fixed price. And if my memory serves me right, we'll do it in baht so you can see. But if my memory serves me right, I was buying them for 100 baht and selling them for 1,000 baht. And, you know, you've got to also take into consideration, it wasn't all profit, because obviously I had to go there and pay for hotel flights. I used to ship it by air freight, so I'd get home on the Sunday night, Wednesday morning, it was on my drive, quarter of a ton of it, half a ton of it. It wasn't as expensive as you thought. I'd buy boxes of these, they're called the mood rings, of 60 in a box. And you put them on, they're just cheap novelty rings, but you put them on and they change color depending on what the heat is. And I used to buy them for, I think it was about, just trying to remember how much they were now. I've got to do this one in pounds. So I'd buy them for about a £5 for a box. And I didn't sell them individually. I'd sell them in a box for about 40 quid, I think it was. So really good markups on all this stuff. And then what happened eventually, it started getting sold directly from China. And in the end, it was actually cheaper. I didn't do it, but it would have been cheaper for me to just sit on my computer at home and then buy it from China direct than it would have been from going to Thailand. But shame, because it was a nice business. Okay, let's answer a few more of these questions. 153 in the chat now. Welcome to everybody, if I haven't said welcome yet. Right, hey Peter, this is from Leslie 535. Hey, what is the first store you would recommend a guy to go to get the best of Patio going for the first time for some fun? That's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, yeah, I mean, okay, if I was telling a friend, I'd probably say, have a walk along the beach road. Don't jump into anything too quickly. I mean, there's a lot of nice bars actually on the beach road, isn't there? It depends what time of the day. If you're talking about the daytime of the, let's just presume you mean evening. Well, if you want real, definitely Soi 6 has to be visited, doesn't it? You've got to have a walk along the beach road. You've got to visit Soi 6. And you've got to end up in Walking Street, haven't you? I mean, what else is there? Right, El Anasa. Hi, Peter. Do you have any idea how hard it is to open a Thai bank account being a foreigner without having a work permit, etc.? I wanted to invest in a small condo. Are you sure you want to do that? As far as opening a bank account, I don't think it's overly difficult. I'm not the person to ask for that. I did have bank accounts when I lived there, but then obviously I had all the right visas. Back then, I used to have a non-immigrant, is it B? Non-immigrant B, and I forget now, but I used to pay from, I used to take them to an agent on, I think it was 33 or something, but it's all changed now. They've got cracked down a lot on it now. But in answer to your question, it's doable. It's not impossible. It can be quite strict. I think what helps a lot is if you know a Thai person, somebody obviously speaks the language, and you trust them as much as you can trust them, and just get them to help you. You know, you sit with them in Starbucks one afternoon and just go through it with them. And if they say, look, you need this paper, that paper, you know, copies of your passport, and ask them if they can go to the bank with you. Even if you've got to give them 500 baht, you know, it's worth it. Jeff, hi. Jeff Ives, good evening to you, sir. Peter, if vaccine passports do become a requirement, they should only be for foreign travel and can be included in the biometrics on every passport. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, in the you know, we live in a high-tech society now, don't we, that everything can, you know, be put into computers. So I can't really see you having to carry a piece of paper. But when you get the jab, they do give you a card stating that you've had it, where you had it at the time. Hi, Mark. Mark about Thailand travel. I'm good, thanks. Okay, Chris. Chris J. Stone. I know what you mean, but the court procedures, EU and okay, somebody having their own conversation there because I don't know what he's on about. Okay. Walking Street coffee drinker. Greetings, Peter from North California. I'm all for the vaccine passport, anything to get back to Patio. Yeah, for sure. I mean, why, you know, these people who say, oh no, I wouldn't have the injection, I wouldn't have a passport, it's my liberties and nobody's got the right to make me do that. Well, fine, stay at home, be a hermit. Paul Brown, look forward to the stories. Thanks, Paul. Paul Hoskin, in what from will these passports take? Millions have had the jab already. Do you know what? If you've just joined it, I was talking about the jab. I've had my jab, little bit of side effects. But I've got some numbers here. Hang on. Right, in the UK, I'm sure a lot of people watching are in the UK because of the time. But I do get the odd person from Thailand watch. I think the population in the UK at the moment is between 78 million and 80 million, something like that. And as of today, and I have looked this up, about 18 million people have been vaccinated. So if you put that into percentages, it's about 19%, isn't it? Something like 18, 19%, nearly 20. So like I said on the other story I read to you earlier, I can really see light at the end of the tunnel now. I really can. Oh, someone said yes, the music is great. I just wanted to ask you something about the music. I had a guy, like, sometimes people leave comments and they're kind of a little bit sarcastic, but I don't think they're meant to be sarcastic. They're like, they'll say something like I'll give you an example. A guy said, if you watch my videos, regular stories, do you remember I used to put these, the opening used to be like a Thai girl. I always used to change a girl. She was like wine. She had nice flowers everywhere. And there'd be some kind of little bit cheesy music, some country music in the background. And some people sort of wrote to me and said, oh, I don't like that music. It's really cheesy and corny. And then I stopped it. And then I had a guy write to me today and he said, oh, good video, but I missed the cheesy music. So I don't know what to do on that sort of side. So that, if you remember that music, I mean, is it good to include that or shall I leave it out? I mean, I really like, I have to keep bending down here, guys. Sorry, there's a heater here. I really like, at the moment, I've got this song that this Thai song, and it's really, it just reminds me of sitting in a bar in Songkran or somewhere. And I put that on the end of every video at the moment. But I just wonder what you guys thought of the music. Do you like the corny, cheesy music or not? And the other thing is, I sometimes get people say to me, oh, what's the name of that track? That song. And you know, honestly, it's not that I don't want to give out information. I had when one of my birthdays years ago, one of my friends, for a joke, he gave me this CD that he bought from Pantit Plaza years and years ago, and it was something like 50 Thai folk songs or disco songs mixed in, whatever, and it's all in Thai, so I don't know what they're called. And at the time, I kind of threw it on the side, and it's always been with me. I don't know why. I never threw it away, and I'm actually using songs off there now. So honestly, I don't know what they're called. Okay, have we got feedback about this music? Paul Hoskin in what? Okay, we'll read that. Okay, Nidimra, the music is great. Hey Peter, do you think in first year, February 2021, the quarantine will be removed? Well, it all depends how it's going, doesn't it? I mean, the way it's going now, all these vaccines are coming out. I mean, the UK is miles ahead from any other country in Europe. I mean, if you look at the graphs, you know, like I said, we've had sort of 18 million. A lot of other European countries are only up to sort of 7-8 million at the moment. I'm not sort of boasting about that, but I'm just trying to put across the point that obviously the more of the population get vaccinated, then, you know, the less people can catch it. And if somewhere like Thailand thinks, well, hang on, the UK, every single person has been vaccinated, so they can't give it and they can't take it, then why would they not want us to go in? Just my opinion. H5PJH, evening Peter, do you think Songkran will be back in 2022? It's got to be, hasn't it? Songkran. If you don't know what Songkran is, hang on there. Let me just show you something here. Did I? Unfortunately, I haven't got it here. I had a nice picture, but I haven't saved it. Never mind. I'll get it for next week. Okay. Right. If you've just joined us, welcome. Something I said at the beginning, because I'm doing these every Saturday night, and if you've noticed, I've got no green screen behind me now. It's not quite there with the lighting, but it looks a lot better. What I was saying at the beginning of the stream, I was saying I don't just want to come on every week and talk about the same old thing. So I want to try and bring in a few bits and pieces, a few regular things. So when I start talking about certain things and I say I'm going to do this every week, if you like me to do it, then let me know and I'll do it. And one of the things I thought I would do, I'm not going to read them out yet. I'll wait to see I'll get the feedback from you guys. But one of the things I thought would be quite fun is about a year ago, a year, 9 months ago, I brought out 3 videos, one of them still on the channel. But what I used to do is I used to take negative comments and just make a note of all the negative comments. Some of them were really bad, some of them were just sort of a little bit bad. And what I used to do, I used to make a video and read these 10 negative comments or 20 negative comments, but I'd collected them over 3 or 4 months. So one of these videos would come out every 4 months. And some people wrote to me and said, oh, no, I don't really want to hear that because they're negative and it's not, what's the point? You know, you're only giving these guys a platform. And the reason I was making the video at the time, it wasn't because I wasn't reading one out and then ranting and raving and saying, you know, how dare he and he doesn't know what he's talking about. It was none of that. It was just, and I also wasn't reading out negative comments and giving excuses as to why something happened. The whole point of it was just as entertainment. That's all, because some of them were actually quite funny. Some guys had sent negative comments to kind of offend me or, rubbed me up the wrong way. But they actually brought a smile to my face. They really did. I'm not just saying that, but some of them were quite funny. So this is a long way of trying to ask you. I've printed out 4 negative comments tonight. They're not really bad, and I might read them out later. I'm not sure. I'll see what you guys say if you want to hear them. And if you enjoy them, then what I'll do, I'll pick up 3 or 4 every week. I mean, you don't get a lot. I might, in a week, I'll probably get, I don't know, a few hundred comments, and I might get 5 negative ones. And some of them are bad, some of them aren't so bad. But they're just a couple of these ones tonight. They're quite funny. So I've got them here. There you go. 4 negative comments. And I might read them out. I'm not going to read any answers out or anything like that. And I'm not going to defend them. And I'm not going to waffle on and defend them. Okay? It's just for fun. So you let me know if you want to hear them. And if you do, then I might introduce that every week. Of course, cold again. Right. Let's have a look who we've got now. 152 in the chat. Well, I'm going back a little bit. Just don't want to miss anybody. Okay, that was that February 21. Peter just arrived. Yeah, all right, David. David Griffiths. Peter, I just arrived. I prefer the green background. Looks great. Yes, all we need to be back in Patio. No, you don't prefer the green one. Let's change the picture and have something a bit nicer for a change. I haven't sorted many pictures out, but you'll like this one. There's a 10-second delay from when I do it, so this will change in 10 seconds. But you should like this one. A very pleasant picture coming up. Okay. Not there yet. There you go. Look at them 4 lovelies. That'll cheer your Saturday evening up. And while you're looking at them, I think it's time to bring on the Kronenberg. I don't eat meat pies. Oh, and I'll talk a little bit about Ed while I'm pouring this, because I was watching his stream on Wednesday. It was quite funny. Let me just pour a beer and I'll be with you. Greetings from Jersey. Javia, hi. I want to spill this. I've got to be careful. I don't want to drink too many and too soon. I had 2 last week and I was fine. Right, so let me just approve that. I don't know. Show Northern Lights. I don't know. Northern Lights. The YouTube, they withheld your comments. I've just approved. I don't know why they do that with some comments. There was nothing really bad there. Hi, Black Bolt. Love the background picture. Yeah, I know, it's lovely, isn't it? They're lovely. Okay. ABC Death. Thanks for that. All right, and before we go any further, cheers. Do you know what? I said it last week and I'm going to say it again. I promise I won't say it last week. That is a lovely, lovely smooth beer. That's Kronenberg, 5%. And that is going down a treat. Absolutely lovely. Just top the can up there. Right. I'm sure a lot of you, if you watch my channel, you watch Ed Sweeney's channel as well, because he's kind of similar. I'm not trying to emulate him by drinking the beer. I just like to have a beer when I'm talking to you guys. But you know this thing I was talking about, off of the heater again. You know this thing I was talking about, like trying to bring in some, nobody's actually said if they wanted to hear the negative comments yet, so we might not be reading them out. But anyway, you know I said I wanted to bring in some regular topics. I kind of watch Ed Sweeney's channel every Wednesday, and you know, he's very laid back. But I was laughing last week because he does this game called Roger or Dodger. And if you're not in the UK, I'll explain this to you, but I've got to kind of say it in a bit of you got to read between the lines, okay? So imagine Roger is it's a man's name, but it's also a slang word for something you'd like to do if you met a pretty female. So we're already getting there. You should understand what I mean by now. So if you were walking into a bar in Patio, your friend might say to you, "Gosh, she's really nice. I'd love to." Well, the slang word is Roger, okay? So now we've got that out of the way. So he plays this game called Roger or Dodger, and what he does, he has his he's obviously doing his live stream, and he has his tablet, and he picks up a picture, and it could be anybody, really sort of strange pictures from you know, older pictures. And he'll get somebody. What was the one he did last Wednesday? One of them was Bo Derek from the 80s. You know, she has all her hair braided, and then he'll show you this picture and he'll say, vote now, Roger or Dodger. And then the live stream goes kind of crazy for a minute with most of them are saying Roger, you know, and then he'll leave it for a bit and he'll do another one. But I thought that was quite amusing. If you haven't checked out Ed's channel, he's on a Wednesday night about 10 p.m. He does a live stream very similar to my own, I suppose. And, you know, if you like my live stream, you'll definitely like his live stream, okay? And if you ever catch this video, Ed, good evening to you. Right, let's get back to the comments, see who's, see what we're talking about. Right, Damien Simmons, my Thai partner and family are having the Chinese vaccination next month. Have the Chinese got one? I'm not going to say anything. Might be some Chinese watching. Right, okay. Just trying to pick up all these comments of you guys, see if anything interesting. Yeah, hi, Paul. That's kind of you. 44 have. Right, the Tahitian Queen has reopened on the beach road. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that on the first live stream. That's good, really, isn't it? That isn't my sort of bar, the Tahitian Queen. It's not really where I like to go, but the thing is, it's a kind of landmark of Thailand, of Patio, isn't it? It's one of those places, if it closed down, it would have been real sad. It's a kind of a, I've gone in there sort of like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you come in, it's bright sunshine outside. You walk in the Tahitian Queen, and it's like being in the black hole of Calcutta. It takes about 3 minutes for your eyes to focus. You can hear glasses clinking, and music, but you can't see anything. But, you know, worth a visit. If you've never been to the Tahitian Queen, just go in there, have a couple of drinks one afternoon. It's interesting. I've got no shares in the Tahitian Queen, or I don't get any financial reward. I'm not plugging it. Kevlar, thanks for that. Right, Nick Rogerson, does your missus give you a hall pass when you go to Thailand? Well, it's not like that, really. I mean, she's Asian, isn't she? My wife's Korean, if you don't know. I've been with her 32 years, so she's not really looking over my shoulder. It's, you know, where you develop a friendship more than anything after all that time. I've got 2 daughters. They're grown up now. And the culture of the Koreans is very similar to the Japanese. And well, I guess she trusts me. I mean, I've been to Thailand lots of times by myself on business. I've lived there on my own. You know, she sometimes goes to Korea for a couple of months, so I'm not going to sit in the UK twiddling my thumbs. If she goes to Korea for a couple of months to visit her family, then, you know, I'm on the plane the next day, sort of thing. So no, I mean, she's you know, I wouldn't say she gives me a pass or anything like that, but you know, she trusts me, and yeah, why not? Move on. Dickie H, so with the vaccinations you will see travel start, but not like before. You still need a mask, 6 feet. Yeah, God, that's depressing, is it? Can you imagine? I'll tell you what I couldn't do. If they said you had to sit on the aircraft with a mask on for 12 hours, can you imagine that? Sometimes I have to pick people up when I'm driving, and I have to wear a mask for about half an hour, and it gets hot and itchy, and I want to scratch my nose, and I couldn't get on a flight and go for 12 hours. I'd probably get arrested at Bangkok for taking it off, or at least lifting it up. Right. Have you ever used the ferry from Patio to Hua Hin? I haven't. But if I had, there's no point in me recommending it because it's now closed down, unfortunately. What else? I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. IOMTILT. Untitled. Is it? Okay, but thanks for all your support. I see you everywhere on the channel, so you know, sorry if I haven't pronounced your name correctly. Snog, marry, avoid. No name, Peter, your inspiration for the channel. What, my channel or somebody? I don't know what you mean, really. Far right is cute, all are nice. Okay, far right is, so would that be right as I'm looking at the screen, or? Yeah. Actually, the 2 on the outside, I think, are the prettiest, aren't they? You know, you don't. It's very rare you'd see a Thai girl who isn't pretty, but the 2 on the outside are particularly pretty, I think. Just slow down. Yes, Damien, 6 million delivered to Bangkok Airport this week from Thai Airways. Yeah, I read that they were collecting the vaccine now. Alex, good evening. Yeah, how are you? Okay, I've had one person say they want me to read the negative comments. That's not enough. I've got to have at least 3 or 4. Otherwise, it might be boring. Right, what else can we talk about? Let's have a look. I thought I'd print this one out for you. If you read stories about Thailand quite regularly, you must have read this, but this just... I mean, there's nothing really to say about this. I just read it. It's really short, but the headline is motorbike taxi attacked tourist in Patio because he was annoyed, right? So you know the guys who wear the orange vests and they'll run you from Walking Street up to your condo at the end of the night or wherever. A Patio motorbike taxi driver is saying he was annoyed when he attacked a foreign man out of nowhere on Walking Street early yesterday morning. Mr. Boonmi was arrested after confessing to allegedly slapping and kicking a 24-year-old man breaking his nose. That's a bit much, isn't it? Breaking his nose. Mr. Boonmi says he acted in a blind moment of fury because he was annoyed with the man. Well, from what I know of the Thais, they don't generally do that. I mean, they don't attack you. Now, the guy was 24, he attacked. Now, I think there's another side to the coin, because if they said he attacked a 70-year-old guy who was walking down Walking Street, I don't know, it could have been pissed, I suppose, but a 24-year-old guy gets his nose broken. There's got to be a bit more to it. If you know something more about it, let us all know. Northern Lights, yeah, read them. One more and I will read them. Okay, Darren. Okay, so let's do the... I have to keep bending down because I've got a heater here and it gets really hot, then it gets cold, then it gets hot. Let's change this picture to something else. I'm going to line up loads of pictures next week. Let's get something else. You might not have seen this one earlier. This is a nice one. I like this one. It's all, yeah, that's lovely. If you thought the last one was lovely, wait till you see this one. But 10-second delay. I can see it now, but you can't see it yet. Just have a beer while I'm waiting for it. There you go. Thailand. Okay, right. I'm going to put it back on the Patio one just quickly because you won't. It'll put you off, won't it, off this what I'm reading. Okay. Right. There you go. Walking Street. That should cheer you up. If you've got a beer in your hand and you're looking at that backdrop, cheers. Okay, so this is a feature that I'm going to now, if I get them, I'm going to do this every week. And, you know, you get hundreds and hundreds of comments if you run a YouTube channel. Of course, you get negative comments. Most people aren't trolls. They just, there might be something they come across you once and they form an opinion and they write something and send it without really thinking. Now, because I'm going to do this every week, don't make something up and leave a comment, because what happens when these comments, they get instantly deleted because there's nothing. It's not because I'm offended, but they're not giving anything to the channel. So, you know, if somebody leaves a comment and said that music you played at the end, it was a little bit naff, bit cheesy, why don't you change it? I'll take that on board, and if a couple of people write it, then I'll change it. But these comments, they're not. They don't really, I mean, they don't insult me because I've got skin thicker than a hippo. I really have. So I read them, I just delete them. So all I'm saying, guys, if you like once we get into these every week, if you don't go on there and make up some comments in the hope of hearing them on a live stream, because all that happens is I'll delete it. I won't know it's you if you're a good guy. And then you won't be able to leave any more genuine comments. Okay. So these are 4 comments that I've collected. These are over actually a week and a half. And these are the best of the worst. Some of them they're withheld because they've got actual swear words in them, really bad ones, and they don't actually come up on the channel because YouTube's it has a all right, I'm getting there. Okay. People in the back, I know people are saying just get on and read them. I am going to read them, but I know YouTube's automation now, it's very, very good. If somebody wrote, for instance, like you know, you're a tosser, for instance, it knows that word tosser. If you're not English, apologies, it's a slang word. It knows that not to put that out there. Okay, so let's get on with these. There's 4 of them. And these are comments that have been left on Thailand Bound over the last 10 days. Okay, right. Number 1, here we go. Your live stream is like a support group for a bunch of desperate mongers who can't wait to get back to Thailand. Keep waiting. It will be at least 2023 before you see Thailand again. Ha ha. I'm sitting in a bar in Patio right now with several pretty ladies think I'll order another cold beer. So my guess is he's probably sitting in a room in Patio, got no money, and he's like leaving comments on Facebook or Thai Visa and all the rest of it. And let me know what you think of these comments. Right, number 2. Oh, this is a good one. So, you know the stories I'm doing, I must have uploaded 70 to 80 stories, and the guys who've sent them to me, I'm sure there's guys watching now, and I get emails saying, thanks for reading my story out today, it was great, and you know, I'm glad I did it justice. So you'll like this one. Right, another negative comment. If you've just joined us, we're reading out a few negative comments. Right, this is addressed personally to me, this one. Right, Peter, you should apply for a job in Disneyland, as you obviously have a vivid imagination making up all the stories you tell on YouTube, making up all the stories you tell on your YouTube channel. I don't believe any of them. I have never been to Thailand, but girls are not as bad as you make out in your stories. I would also advise you to seek psychological treatment, as you obviously hate all women and have a twisted view of the world. What do you think of that one? That's what it does, just puts a smile on my face. Okay. Right, number 3. It starts to get a little bit not very nice now. These are 2 little short ones. Right, number 3. YouTube deserves better. You and your channel are totally boring. I would rather watch paint dry. Have you ever been to Thailand? On that one, I just wrote back and said, no, it looks lovely. What's it like? Okay. And then the last one, this is quite funny because I did answer this one. The last one, it says, I can't believe this channel has 17,000 subscribers. I wrote back and said, yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? It should be at least 100,000, but thanks for your support. So there you go. That's, well, I don't need them now, do I? Right, that's 4 negative comments. Let's go through your comments and see what you thought of them. Right. Right, Damien, read them. We've done that. Dickie, 24-year-old. Got... Right, Dickie, that's on that story, the motorbike taxi. 24 years old, got a broken nose. Maybe he should duck next time. I'd love to know what he did. I mean, Thai guys, they don't just come up to you and break your nose. Right, Leonard, where in North Yorkshire are you? Elliot, Leonard, where? Okay, you're asking somebody else. All right. Damien Simmons, you're on the vodka and orange, are you? Yep. Cheers. Okay. Dickie H, keep up with the stories. Great. Right, Paul Hoskin, I miss drinking Chang with a sip of Thai whiskey. I've never been into the Thai whiskey. When I originally got to Thailand in the early 90s, 91, something like that, the Thai, you can get decent Thai whiskey now. And I have the first one that I consider, I'm not talking about Black Label and all that. I'm talking about if you're on a budget. And I don't particularly like Thai whiskey that I tried back then. It might be totally different now, but those original, there were 2 Thai whiskies, but I found them very syrupy. They weren't in the early 90s when I tried the Thai whiskey. I found them sweet and a little bit syrupy. I just didn't like them. And then the first kind of Thai whiskey that wasn't a premium brand that came out that was actually like a bottle of whiskey you could get from the supermarket in the UK was called Black Cat. And that was very palatable. And then they started bringing out other black brands like Blend. That was another. You can get so many whiskies now because it was all Black Label. Well, it still is. I mean, that's another thing that used to amaze me when I went to if I was lucky enough to be taken to a Thai nightclub with a band and everything with a group of Thais. It used to amaze me. You'd get a group of Thai girls, you know, only sort of 18 to 21. And in the UK, if they went to a disco, such a dated word, but if they went to a nightclub, for instance, they'd order themselves a vodka tonic or whatever they drink, you know, something. But in Thailand, the young girls sit at a table, 3 or 4 girls, bottle of Black Label, you know, hardcore drinkers. Yeah, that was something a little bit strange. Right. Paul, yeah, you get used to that. Paul Smith says, wow, look at the thicket of tangled overhead wires. It's like that all over Thailand. That's how they do it. They don't put the cables underground. They just, you know, they put them wherever. Okay, let's see if we've got any other nice pictures we can put up. Yeah, I think you've pretty much seen all the best ones. So I think we'll leave the 4 pretty girls. That was quite a nice one, wasn't it? Yeah, we'll leave them up there. That was quite nice. Okay, I'll get some more for next week. You seem to like these 4. They all look cheeky, don't they? They got a naughty little cheeky smile on their faces. I could probably just rob some foreigner. Right. Okay. Oh, niche is it? Polish vodka straight. Yeah, I know. What's everybody drinking out there tonight? I'm on Kronenberg beer. Damien's on the Thai whiskey, Thai vodka. Got a Polish chap here who's on the Polish vodka. Well, he didn't say it was Polish. Yeah. A pathetic attempt to make people adhere to their own norms as if no one were allowed to be alien to their own ways. Yeah, I know what you mean, Alex. It's like in the early days, I don't make these sort of videos so much now, but I used to make, when I first started the channel, I used to make a lot of videos like how much is a bar fine. Then I'd talk about bar fines in every area of Thailand, not only, Patio, different areas, beer bars, go-go bars. Then I'd make another one about ladies' drinks and then all them kind of style. And I used to get quite a bit of flack. And a lot of them, unfortunately, were Western women who'd send me comments like that I was encouraging sex tourism and, I must be some kind of a deviant and all that sort of stuff. But you just got to kind of, what they don't kind of understand is a lot of you guys out there are single. You're not perverts or anything. You just go there for a nice time, and if you meet somebody, then it's just makes the trip nicer. It's not against the law. You're not hurting anybody. You work hard. You want to spend your money. I mean, where else are you going to go? Butlins? No name. Wow, what a snowflake. Yeah. Have we got anybody in the channel who's not in the UK? Well, we got a few in America, California, and that. We had somebody from Australia. It's all down to the time zone, isn't it? The goodies drinking Budweiser. Seamus, do you support any football team? I think I mentioned this before. I'm not really a great fan of football. I don't really support anybody, but if it's like an international game, like where it's getting towards the end, the semi-finals, I don't mind watching that, but I'm not really a football fan, which, I'm kind of a little bit different that way. Daniel T, he's on the whiskey. The English versus about Mekong Coke. Yeah, that's it. I was trying to think of the name of it. Mekong, that's it. Yeah, then maybe it's changed now, but like I say, I used to find it a little bit syrupy. Blue Label DM. Oh, you got some cash behind you there. Blue Label. If you haven't heard of Blue Label, I've only had it once, and that was in India. Actually, somebody gave me a shot of it. Blue Label is the next level. You got Red Label, Black Label. Well, Blue Label is the next level up, and it's about 100. Last time I looked, it was something like 100, 120 £120 a bottle of whiskey. But when you drink it, you know what you're paying for. Seamus Highland, yeah. Pyro Matt, yeah. Hi from Australia. Yeah, hi. I guess it's morning where you are at the moment, depending on where you are for exact times. Nidimra, Norway here. Norway's a great country. I spent a year in, it was about 6 months actually. I don't want to exaggerate. I spent 6 months in a place called Buda, Bodo, and it's over the Arctic Circle. So when I was there, it was the summertime. It didn't get dark. It really messes with your mind because you come out. I was quite young now, 27. You come out of a nightclub and it's not only daylight, but it's bright sunshine. This is in Norway. And the other thing a couple of things that freak me out about Norway, like I'm always saying this, it's probably completely different now. It's changed because we're going back over 30 years when I was there. But two things about Norway that kind of, apart from, they called it, see if I can remember what it was called in Norwegian. You probably laugh at this. I think it was called Midnatsel, something like that. Anyway, the two things that really surprised me about Norway, maybe where I was, there's a lot, as you know, yourself living in Norway, a lot of the land you can't live on it because it's all mountains and rivers and fjords, and beautiful country, especially up north. And but two things that kind of freaked me out, not freaked me out, but really surprised me that were different to England. One, everybody used to drink moonshine. I don't know if they still do, but alcohol was very expensive, so they'd all make their own I don't know what it was, moonshine, and then they'd come out to the nightclubs half pissed already. And then the other thing is the amount of young girls who used to hitchhike on their own. Very dangerous thing to do in the UK. But I remember driving, or I was with a friend who was taking me around in the car, and I'd see girls who were no more than anywhere between 14 and 19, and they're hitchhiking in the middle of nowhere, and that just blew me away. Like I say, really dangerous. You wouldn't see it in the UK, but it was all over. I don't know if it's changed now. Let me know if it's changed. Okay, what we got here now? Jatin, blue label isn't next up from black. Okay, that would be double black. Then there's gold label, green label, platinum, etc. You're going way above me now, because I'm the sort of person who goes into a bar and orders the cheapest non-Thai whiskey there is. So when you start talking blue labels and green labels and gold labels, it doesn't matter to me. And the other thing the other thing that's always made me laugh is in Thailand, for me, black label is an expensive whiskey. It's a premium whiskey, isn't it? So I was always kind of thought that if you have a drink like that, you might have a little bit of ice with it, or you might have a little bit of soda water. But, they mix it with Coca-Cola. What's the point of having black label? It's just you don't get that real smooth taste of the black label because you've just dumped a load of Coke in the glass. So, Doug, my wife, Canadian, lived in Norway for 5 years. So she'll probably tell you the same, Doug. But it depends where she was in Norway. If she was in one of the major cities down south, then it might not have been like that. In New Zealand, originally from Northampton, drinking Victoria Bitter. Yeah, that Victoria Bitter. I've never tried it, but I know that's very popular in Australia as well. And, all right, let's just go back, look through some of your comments, see what we're talking about. Wales, hi to you, RM in Wales. I would go to Butlins if the Thai girls are there. Paul Hoskin. Jeff Ives, let's be honest, if girls are complaining about encouraging guys to go to Patio, then maybe the girls should take a look in the mirror. Oh, I won't comment on that one, Jeff. Hi from New Zealand, Australia. But Alex agreed with me on that one, Jeff. 9 a.m. from Pyro. Yeah, so in Australia where he is, it's 9 a.m. Right, where are we now? Teetotal now, Pete. Sad times. This is from V. Note to self, always wear a helmet whilst driving in Thailand. Don't split your wig. Okay. I'm not a heavy drinker like I used to be. In fact, I made a video about not becoming an alcoholic in Thailand. I think it's still on my channel. I tend to have a couple of beers on a Saturday night. Now, I might have later on when I know the wife's in bed. It's not the biggest bottle in the world, is it? But that's about an eighth of a. Well, it looks clear, doesn't it? Maybe it's because of the background picture. But that's actually whiskey in there. I might have a sip of that later. Right, just in case any ladies join us, I'm going to change this picture for a while. Let's go back to Patio. Right. What's this? Right. Franco De Rosa, are you allowed to say what job you're doing at the moment as you used to be in hotels? Yeah, nothing very exciting. I'm self-employed now. I work with the county council. I work during school time, so I can only now go to Thailand when the school vacation's on, with the school holidays on. I'm not Peter the teacher who got ripped off royally by the bar girl in Patio just because I can only go on holiday when the schools have broken up. But I do a couple of things. I've got a little bit of property, and I just, I don't do a lot, to be honest with you. I'm semi-retired, and I just can't sit at home 7 days a week doing nothing. So, Diligent Crab, I agree about drinks, but I do like the taste of premium absolute vodka with Diet Coke. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's no law, is it? It's your money. If you like a certain way of drinking a drink, then it's up to you. I mean, it's your money. You work hard for it. Why not? Vodka, I'm not a big vodka drinker, but I always used to like to stick it in the freezer. Somebody told me vodka doesn't freeze. You can leave it in there all night. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never left it in there long enough. Just get it very cold. Right, I'm Alex. I'm super afraid to ever drive in Thailand. No, you don't have to be. It's crazy there. I owned a car when I was there. I used to drive quite regular from Bangkok to Pattaya. You got the toll road. pretty easy. It's like everywhere else. You have got to watch out for other drivers because they do drive crazy. But the worst bit of the journey for me when I drove to Patio was getting out of the city. I used to live, I've always lived around the Sukhumvit area. And, you know, to get from Sukhumvit, you've got to go out onto Rama 4 behind the tobacco factory and head out to the highways. There was no sat-navs back then. And nightmare, you know. And then when you drive back, it used to be a 2-hour drive from Patio to Bangkok. But then you start to come into the outskirts where the mosques are, you know, on the outskirts. And then it starts to build up. And I didn't really like it. I'd rather take a taxi, to be honest with you, because you just relax, go to sleep, or whatever. And of course, if you have an accident, it's going to be your fault, isn't it? Because you're the foreigner. I was driving my car once on Soy Cowboy, and funny enough, we'd just come back from Patio. My friend lived in that block of flats on the end of Soy Cowboy. So, you know, if you come in and Country Roads is on your left, and on your right, you've got Long Gun, and you walk up the entire length of the Soy. And they used to have the ship that's gone now. Well, that as you leave the Soy, right there's a block of flats. And I was dropping my friend off there, and I pulled up, and he knew. I mean, he wasn't a novice to Thailand. I don't know why he did it this time, but he didn't look. He just opened his door. There was a construction site there at the time, next door to where that apartment block was. And he knows, you know, you don't just open a door. I don't know what was going on in his mind, but anyway, we pulled up. He just opened the door. You know what happened? A motorbike went into the door, bent all the front of the motorbike and everything. Now, I've had motorbikes all my life. I haven't got one now. I know generally what they cost to fix. And looking at his bike, worst case scenario, I would have said probably at that time, probably 800 baht to maximum 1,500. It wouldn't have been 1,500, but give the guy some leeway. And he opened the door. The guy went into him, and all these guys, they're having this conversation. The guy wanted money. My friend's a foreigner. And these guys started mooching around the car. They come off the building site, and more were gathering around. I was getting a bit nervous. I thought it's going to kick off here. And my friend stuck his head in the car, and he says, "Oh, he's asking for 3,000 baht. What do you think?" I said, and he said his name there. I said, "Give him the 3,000 baht, take your bag and go." And he went, "Oh, it's a lot of money." And I said, "Give him 3,000 baht or I'm driving off." Anyway, to cut a long story short, he gave him the 3,000 baht. The guy whyed him. Everybody went back to the construction site, and that was it. And that's a really good lesson, you know. For the sake, it was 3,000 baht, about 75 quid, 75 pounds, 85 US dollars. You know, why risk, you know, getting into a bad situation? Because if he would have been, if he would have confronted him and it turned into a fight, he would have just got beaten up by everybody who was there. Nobody would have took his side. But I got another funny comment in the week, actually, and somebody actually in one of the videos, I think it was something 20 things not to do in Thailand. One of the things I said is don't rub the ties up the wrong way. If you get into an argument, just walk away. And somebody sent me a comment. They'd never been to Thailand before, and they said, "Oh, why can't you confront a Thai? Are they gods?" And I just wrote back to him and said, "I suggest you just go to Thailand and pick a fight with a bunch of Thais. You'll get your answer." Right, where are we up to? 148 in the chat. Welcome to everybody if I haven't said hi. Right, Randy, recently found your channel. Love all the helpful advice. Went for 30 days. Can't wait to get back yet. Okay, thanks. Right, Damien, is that a home brew, Peter? No, it's not a home brew, Damien. Look, I showed you. Look. Kronenberg, and on Saturday I make it a pint. Normally I just drink the 440 milliliters, I think they are. Right, a nomad overseas. Peter, when you get to retirement age, would you consider moving back over to Thailand full-time, or will you stay in the UK? No, I mean, I've discussed this with my Korean wife. No, we will go back there, but what we'll do, we won't kind of sell up everything, get every penny together and go over there and think bye-bye England, hello Thailand, because obviously one of the great things about the UK, as much as people slate the UK, and there is a lot of broken things in the UK now, but one of the great things we've still got is the NHS, the National Health Service. You know, I mean, it's still a great institution, and it doesn't matter who you are, what you are on the social ladder, how much money you've got. If you need some kind of treatment, then you know, it's basically free. You pay your taxes, but you don't get a bill when you come out of hospital, and that's one of the great things about this country. So when you go overseas at an old age. I'm 61 now. Now, if I went tomorrow, with a bit of luck, I'll be healthy for the next 10, 15 years. I'll get health insurance. I'll buy, the medicine's very, very good over the counter in Thailand. But you've got to take into consideration, you can't just burn your bridges and say, that's it, I'm off, because you might need to come back. You might, God forbid, you should have something like a heart attack or a stroke. It's the medical treatment in Thailand is very, very good. It's second to none, but it is a business. And the first thing when you go to a Thai hospital, the first thing you'll do is check that you can afford to pay the bill in that hospital. So in answer to your question, I think personally what I would do, I've got quite a nice house in the UK. What I would probably do is sell that, get a small house, a very small house that my wife and I could retire in when we're very, very old, pay that off, obviously. And I think I'd get an agent to rent that out. So I've got I wouldn't rely on that income, but I'd get a little bit of income coming in from my property. I'd let the agent look after it. I'd head out to Thailand. I wouldn't buy a property in Thailand. There's no need. It's cheap to rent. There's some nice locations. And the great thing about renting, you can move on. And I just wouldn't risk putting my money into property in Thailand. A little bit paranoid about it. I've seen horror stories. I wouldn't do it. I'm not telling you not to do it. I wouldn't do it. So that's what I would probably do. And that way I've got a boat hole. I've got a small place in the UK, a house. And if anything went wrong, then at least we can jump on a plane, come back to the UK, give the guy notice who's living there, get it decorated, move back in, and we're settled again. I think that's a sensible way to do it. Okay. Just some comments on this 3,000 baht. I'm just going back to catch up. Hi, Matthew. Right, Matthew says, what are you most looking forward to about going back to Thailand? It's what I mentioned earlier. It's just that buzz, that you don't get anywhere else in the world. And Patio is a great example of that. When you come out of your hotel at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's buzzing, and you hear the girls screaming and the guy, and everyone's in a good mood. You don't get it anywhere else in the world, do you? I mean, I've been to Vegas a couple of times, and that was good fun, but it wasn't Patio. And I'm not talking about the seedy side of it, if you know what I mean. I've got to talk in between the lines. I'm just talking about the whole buzz of Patio and Thailand, and that's probably what I'm looking forward to. And then everything else is secondary, isn't it? Great food, the friendly people, and Pete, 10 out of 10 for the funny business names and places in Thailand. Yeah, if you missed that video, go and check it out. It's funny. I got I put a request out for you guys to send me funny pictures of signs and things. Have you seen that one on the way to the airport? It wasn't included, but it's a milk drink. And believe it or not, it's 2 words, but it's called Semen Healthy Drink, and it's on big billboards all the way out to the airport. And I didn't have a picture of it, but somebody sent me the picture after I'd already put the video out, so I've kept it for maybe next time. But yeah, unbelievable. Hey Pete, Mazza, late arrival tonight. Hope you'll be on for a while. What's the time now? Well, it depends if people get bored of me and they disappear. It's I've been on now for, oh wow, it's already an hour and 20. Probably 11 o'clock. I think 2 hours is more than enough. Maybe less if people disappear. But we've still got 154 in the chat, and I'm still on my first beer. And to anybody who hasn't been to Thailand before, just in case you're wondering, the background picture that you're looking at now is Thailand, and I'll change Patio, and I'll change it for another Patio image. Right, that will change on yours quite soon. Okay. I'm glad I got this green screen sorted out. I was looking at it last week because obviously at the end of the stream, I like to just go through it and see if I've done it. I don't watch the whole thing, but just make sure everything went right. And I just think, obviously I'm not in Thailand. I'm at home, and it just looks so much more nicer to have a little bit of a background there, doesn't it? Okay. Alex, maybe it's safer to rent a car from the outset and avoid the whole traffic issue like Bangkok airport. You know what? I'll give you a personal opinion again. Myself, now, it was different in the early 90s. You didn't have the transportation systems like you have now. There was no MRT. There was no BTS, the underground, the overhead trains. The highways weren't as good as they were now. A lot of modern highways. It wasn't anything like it is now. if I went to live there full time now, I wouldn't rent a car. I might rent a small motorbike, like a Honda Click or something like that, especially if you live in a town like Hua Hin, because taxis aren't as available as they are. In Patio, for instance, you've got that BART bus that goes around 10 baht. If you live there, then yeah, you probably want to buy a bike. But if you ever go to live in Thailand and you get a small motorbike, for God's sake, don't go on the highway, guys. In Phuket, not for some reason, in Phuket, they have more, from what I understand, they have more people dying, more foreigners die in motorcycle accidents in Phuket than anywhere else in the world, because they just go absolutely mad. They get to Phuket, they rent these huge motorbikes, no experience, go flying with some little girl on the back, some Thai girl, and lots of people have been killed in Phuket. So I really don't think you need to rent any transport. You're better off just jumping on the back of a motorbike taxi or a normal taxi, or getting the BTS. Alex said 3,000 baht is actually not too bad. That's for my friend who opened his door in the motorbike crash. Yeah, that's why I said at the time, I said, look, just pay him, don't mess about. Some people can't be taught, Wandering Soul. Yeah, Darren Drew, best just to play. So a lot of you are sort of agreeing, if you got into that situation and the guy's asking for a couple of thousand, 2,000-3,000 baht, just pay it. It's not worth the hassle, is it? Loose Feet Adventure. Obviously, you like love the NHS like we all do. Wandering Soul, same like Canada. Right, Roy Good. There's a new taxi app called Bolt ATM. It's even cheaper than the taxi motorbikes. Amazing service and well recommended. Yeah, so I mean, this is it. There's like I said, it's so different now to what it was when I got there. You got all these apps, haven't you? You grab taxis, and it's all on the apps now. Wondering, so I work for an insurance company, and it's true. Okay, has great healthcare. Yeah, Thailand has great healthcare. However, they demand payment upfront and guarantee of payments. Well, it's like I said, in Thailand, the hospitals are really brilliant. The Bumrungrad Hospital on Sukhumvit Soi 3, I believe that was voted 5th best overall hospital in the whole world. We've got a McDonald's downstairs. That was a bit kind of, I've never seen a McDonald's in a hospital. But they have got very, very good medical care. The state hospitals are, obviously they're not the same, but they are run as a business. So it's like anything, if you checked into a hotel, they want to see your credit card that you can pay for the room before they give you the room, and it's the same in Thailand. But it is good. The medical treatment is very good. The hospitals are very good. When I was in Hua Hin last time, I hope I'm not repeating myself here. I had I don't think it was food poisoning, but I ate some food I shouldn't have eaten. It was in a, I won't tell you where I ate it because it's not fair on them, but it was a food court, and it wasn't Thai food, and it wasn't something like, it wasn't, normally if you eat something like a pizza or fried chicken or French fry, whatever it is, they turn over quick and no problem. And there was I won't tell you what it is, so I'm not giving too much away, but I will tell you what it was. It was a kebab, with a big knife. And I seen it, I thought, oh, that looks nice. All the onions were, I thought I'll have some of that with some chili sauce. And I just got violently sick. I was vomiting. I had to stay near a bathroom, if you get my point. I don't want to be too graphic. And but eventually I went to a small clinic in Hua Hin, never been there before, and just a small clinic, very clean. All the shoes were outside. I went in, and the guy, it was a young man who was a kind of receptionist, and he'd asked me if I'd been there before, asked me what the problem was. I just said, I'm sick, I need to see a doctor. Yep, no problem. Have a seat, took all my details and everything, give me a little card, sat down for about half an hour. Doctor called me in, fluent English, of course, because they read all the medical books in English. And talked to me very nicely, full exam, everything. Discovered that I got, I don't know if you can say slight food poisoning, but let's just say I had a stomach upset. And so to visit the clinic, to have a one-on-one consultation with a doctor, very good doctor. I got some antibiotic tablets, 10-day course of antibiotics, and another 10 days of something else. All of that cost me, I think it was about 800 baht, which is about 21, 22 pounds. So that's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, considering it's a business and you have to pay for it, I was very happy with that, because I didn't ask him how much it was going to cost, because they didn't know what was wrong with me before they examined me. So I was kind of a little bit worried when it came out, but it was fine. Right, Sean Lane, if you live away from the UK for some time, you can't come back and use the NHS straight away. You have to be back in the UK for a few months before it's free. Yeah, I've heard something like that, but where I've always wondered about that is what would happen if you were walking down the street and you had a heart attack and they come and got you in the ambulance? Would they sort of say, oh, he's just got back, look at his passport, we're not going to treat you? I don't know, maybe you can let us know how that works. Okay, Northern Lights, I won't read that comment out, but I'm sure you're not speaking about me. Diligent Crab, Sean Lane. Okay, you're talking to somebody else. Borat, how are you? Right, David, mate, our biggest issue in the UK is corporate socialism. Yeah, we won't get into politics. Right, Nick Franco, I want to move there and import my 71 Chevrolet pickup. It's a loud beast. The Thai girls will come running. Yeah, this is a bone of contention. Unfortunately, importing Thais to Thailand is not really, it's not worth doing at all, rather, because the tax is so high. I've known a lot of people who have got nice cars who wanted to import them to Thailand, and the tax was 4 times the value. It might have changed now, but I don't think it has. So easy numbers. Say you've got a car that costs £20,000 new, and you've had it for 5 years, so it's now worth £12,000, say, or 14,000. It doesn't work like that in Thailand. What they'll do, they'll say, right, that car was, and you can't lie to them, they know. So they'll charge you 4 times the value of the car. So if you've got a brand new car that costs £20,000, even though the value is now depreciated because it's 10 years old, 5 years old, whatever, you will still get charged 4 times the tax. And believe it or not, on a £20,000 car, you will pay like £80,000 tax. It's ridiculous. So nobody imports cars to Thailand unless they're so wealthy. It doesn't matter. OTC, that's cheap, 800 baht. Yeah, I thought it wasn't bad because it included the medicine as well. Right, Roy, I've needed medical attention a few times in Southeast Asia and always had good service in local clinics and hospitals, prompt service and value for money. Yeah, the one that made me laugh. Do you remember that story I told you about the guy? He went on a motorcycle tour around Chiang-Mai, the north of Thailand, and then he went over to, I think it was Laos, and he got into a really bad motorcycle accident. He broke his leg or his hips or something. I can't remember which story it is, but it's still on the channel. So he was up there. He was on his motorbike. He was on a tour. Some Cambodians or Vietnamese or whoever it was, Laos, next country, slammed into him. They were injured. They opened up a clinic because it was in sort of late afternoon or early evening. The clinic was closed for the day, but they opened the clinic up, got them all patched up. He was on a kind of gurney bed. And they wheeled him out into the jungle and left him there and said, we'll be back for you tomorrow. And but his Thai girlfriend at the time sort of stayed with him all night and fanned him and got rid of, made sure the mosquitoes stayed away from him. But when he said they rolled me into a jungle, I think what they did is they closed up the clinic. They didn't have any facilities to have people stay overnight, and obviously they weren't going to kick him off the gurney, so they basically rolled it out the back door, into the sort of edge of the jungle, wherever, or the gardens of the place, and locked up for the night. And anyway, you just wouldn't, that wouldn't happen in the UK, would it? Get patched up and then shoved into the car park for the night. Right, OTC, Peter, can you answer my question? I can. Where is it? Is the one above? Right. Right. I'm planning on going to Bangkok and Patio when things settle down later this year. Would $5,000 to $6,000 be enough for 3 months? I don't drink or smoke. Just freelancers. It doesn't sound a lot, I'll tell you. Let's take your highest number, $6,000. Right, and we'll use a figure. Oh, I got it here, haven't I? Today it's US. So we'll use a figure of 30 baht to the dollar. So how long are you going for? 3 months. Right, that's yeah, you could do that. I don't know about the freelancer bit though. That works out about 60,000 baht a month. Now, obviously, it depends what sort of accommodation you're going to stay in. It depends what you're going to eat. It depends there's a lot of variables there. So the freelancer bit, I mean, obviously that will eat into your budget, but unless you're sort of some kind of a stud, I would imagine you're talking 2-3 times a week max. So let's say I don't want to sort of say too much about the freelancer budget, but let's just say if you're a real dog, you'd be looking at sort of 3,000 baht a month minimum, a week minimum, 12,000 a month for 3 a week. But no, I mean, you can do it. 60,000 baht. You're not going to live like a king, but you're certainly not going to be the wealthiest person, but you can do it. Okay. Vaping is forbidden everywhere in Thailand. Doug. Yep. Do you know what? I used to smoke and smoke real heavily. I started when I was 15, and I went on to the vape because I did stop cold. I stopped cold turkey for about 5 years, and I started again like a silly boy, and then I stopped for a year 3 times. So throughout my life, I started smoking when I was 15. I stopped for a total of about 18 years cold turkey. I don't know why I went back to it. I was really stupid to do that, and one of the things that helped me immensely was vaping. And the problem with vaping, though, is it's like a baby's dummy. You're just on it all the time. And I had a vape, and it did help a lot. And with cigarette, you'll smoke a cigarette, then you won't think about it for 50 minutes. You'll take another one. But with vaping, you can use it everywhere, even if you're not allowed to use it. I mean, it's not like you light up a cigarette and it's a light. With a vape, you can stick it in your top pocket, and you bend down, take a couple of puffs. But the reason I stopped it was because of Thailand, because they would. I went onto a beach in Hua Hin with a friend, big sign, no smoking, vaping illegal. The penalty for vaping, I think it said it was a 20,000 baht fine, which is about £500, 4, 8, 12, yeah, about £500 fine, and so many years in jail. And I thought for vaping, I thought, no, they're not going to get me on that, because what would have happened is somebody who would catch me vaping would just use it as an excuse to get money, and because of that, I decided to stop. But it was actually more difficult to. Now, I won't say it was more difficult. The problem with the vaping, like, it was habit, and it was really hard to give up the habit. But I've given it up now. It was last October. So what are we now? February. Yeah, it's about a year and a quarter now. Alex, OTC. Well, you easily spend 200 a night there. Borat, when the UK lets you go abroad, will you go to Thailand again or elsewhere? Yeah, of course. Where else do I want to go? Yeah, Thailand, definitely. I don't want to go to flipping Spain or somewhere like that. Mind you, saying that, our friend's just been to Spain. He said it was quite good, actually, but it's not Thailand, is it? OTC, Alex, you're not going to enjoy Patio being below $100. Paul Hoskin, I spend 10,000 baht a day when I'm in Thailand. Do you know what, Paul? I believe that, because when I don't, not so much now, but when I used to go, sometimes I just go for a week, believe it or not, long haul flight on a Sunday, come back on a long haul flight the following Sunday, but I just couldn't get the time off. And I used to think, well, look, if I put up with it for 2 days, I can have 6 nights in Thailand, and would have rather like put up with them 2 nights and have 6 nights there, or just stay in the UK. I thought, no, I'll put up with the 2 flights. And when I went there, obviously in a week, I had plenty of money to spend, and I can believe you spend 10,000 baht a night. It's easy. I mean, if you go around the bars in anywhere like Nana or Cowboy, money just flies out the window. I mean, you're talking 180 baht for a drink. There's ladies' drinks. You're going from bar to bar. I mean, I used to do 4,000 or 5,000 baht a night around Cowboy. I mean, no problem at all. So, taking into account all your other costs, if you know what I mean, yeah, 10,000 baht, easy. Yeah, OTC, you're welcome. Mr. Watt. Mr. Watt is your name. Hello from North Carolina. Hiya. Alex, well, a bottle in a nightclub is like 10K baht already. I think most of the people on this channel, they don't really frequent nightclubs too much, do they? Because I get stats for people who watch my channel. I do get all ages, but the main group seems to be anywhere between kind of 45 and 65. Yeah, Alex, not like I'd ever do that alone. If you did a whole bottle of whiskey by yourself, Alex, it wouldn't, you probably wouldn't stand up and get out of there. Getting a lot of comments now on what you need as a budget, but Paul, you spend $328 a day. You must be rich. No, I'm not rich, but you save up, don't you? That's saying, the 2-week millionaires. You know, you work hard and you go out there with money, and I just can't imagine going. It's different if you retire, isn't it? If you go out there on a holiday, on a vacation for a couple of weeks, you've got a set amount of money. You could have £3,000, a lot of money for 2 weeks, but then you're not looking at menu prices. You're not asking people how much is certain things, if you know what I mean. You just get on and do it. You have a good time. You get back on the plane, come home and work hard. But if you go out there for any length of time, or you go out there to retire, then you can't live that way unless you're an extremely wealthy man, which most people aren't. You know, most people are on a pension, or they've got a couple of pensions. You know, I'd say I watched a couple of budgets really. I never like to give this figure, but if you go out there and you're retiring out there and you're going to live a fairly simple life, I'm not talking about living on a farm in Isan, but somewhere like Hua Hin or Chatham, something like that, 50 to 70,000, depending on how you live, you should be able to get by pretty okay on that. I mean, I've dedicated a video. There's so many videos on YouTube about budgets. That was nice. Okay, talking of these budgets, that's always the biggest question going is, what sort of budget do you need to retire in Thailand? And I made a video about a year ago that says one thing that really winds me up is these guys who come out and make videos and say, oh, I live in Bangkok on $500 a month. I'm having a ball. And you can't do it, guys. You really can't, because what those videos don't take into account, they tell you they've got a room for 1,200 baht. They've got, they eat noodles on the street, and, you know, they're having a great time. They drink Leos from 7-Eleven. But what they don't tell you, you've got to pay for your visa. You've got to pay every 3 months to get it stamped again. You know, it might only be 1,900 baht, but it all adds up. You know, you've got to pay for medical insurance. If you're retired, you're going to have to visit the pharmacy and buy medicine. I do at my age. I'm healthy, but I do need to buy medicine. But saying that, I did watch a couple of nice budget videos, and one was done by, it's quite an old video. I always mention him. You know, that Ride for Kicks. He did one on surviving on $500 a month. And when he did that budget, I thought, oh, here we go. But it was quite good, actually. But the big difference with him, what he was saying is not you can come to Thailand and retire on $500 a month. He wasn't saying that. What he was saying was, look, if you live in Thailand and you got a pension, you're on, say, maybe $1,500 a month, you rent out maybe 3 properties where you come from, 2 of them become vacant, and you find yourself with only $500 a month, you can survive for a month or 2. And he went through all the costs, where you can eat, where you can live. And it was very good. But the big emphasis on his budget, as I say, was he said, right, you're on $1,500 or $2,000, whatever you're on. Suddenly it's gone tits up. You're only getting $500 a month. And he took you around like to markets you need to go to at 5 in the morning where the locals go. You can get a meal in a plastic bag for 40, 50 baht. You'd lose your apartment. You'd have to live in a Thai-style apartment. But the point he was trying to emphasize was that if you had to survive for maybe 3 months, you could do it. It wouldn't be nice. You wouldn't be living a nice lifestyle. But if you lived in Thailand, you were retired, and you needed to get over a short period of maybe 2-3 months, you didn't want to pack up and get back on the plane, then you could do it. But the guys who say, yeah, I live in Thailand, $500 a month, I'm having a ball, absolute bullshit. You cannot do it. Right. Kim, Discovering History. How are you? Nice to see you on the channel. Right, Kim. I'll just tell you, if you haven't seen, he's got a great video, actually. I hope I can remember the name of the channel. Can you see in the chat, there's a guy there called Kim Discovering History. He's got his own channel. Kim, if you want to put the name of the channel down, people will see it. But he's got a drone. He flies a drone, and I did one with him recently where we went to an American airfield. It's from the Second World War, disused, but you can still see buildings in the wood where the officers slept and all this sort of thing. And he did a brilliant 40-minute video on this. I'm at the beginning of the video, but it's very, very good. And I'd recommend watching that, especially if you're an American, because we had a lot of Americans here in the Second World War. And especially where I live now, we had at least 10 American airfields, flying fortresses. So go and check out his video. I'll give you the name of the channel if he comes back with it. Right, Roy Gold. Oh, he's got a question. Actually, I didn't answer his question. Kim, greetings, Peter. My question is, does your wife want to move back to Thailand, or has she settled now in the UK? Well, she has settled in the UK. She's got an English passport. Unfortunately, she's just got laid off her job, but we've got other things in the pipeline. But you got to remember, she's Asian, she's Korean, isn't she? So yeah, obviously she would like to move back to Thailand, because Thailand is more like South Korea than the UK is. You know, the food, the spicy food, and just the atmosphere. And she likes the UK, but she just thinks it's a little bit boring compared to her country, which is understandable. Right, time to open number 2. I'm on the Kronenberg here, guys. And if you've got a drink in your hand tonight, cheers to you. Fill this right up. Oh, I might have to pop to the loo in a minute. 160 in the chat now. We've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. We'll give it another 20 minutes as always. Just check I have covered everything I've printed out for you today. Yeah, we've done all that. Oh, this is something I just printed this off just out of interest, because it just shows you how desperate some hotels are. You know, that because they haven't got the visitors now, they've been dropping their prices. This was somebody else's video I watched on YouTube. He looks Thai American. He sounds American, but he looks Thai. I should have got his name really. A bit naughty reading this out. But anyway, there's a hotel, a 5-star hotel in Bangkok. It's called the Prince Palace Hotel. 5-star, right? Their price on Google, advertising their price per night. How much do you think in UK pounds? Give you a couple of seconds to guess. £17 a night. Can you imagine a 5-star hotel? You can't even get a travel lodge in the UK for £17 a night. They're advertised on Google at 736 baht a night, which is £17.35 UK, US dollars 24.15. Yeah, and the other thing I printed out today is Thailand to reopen to rich tourists, as they want to make it a friendly haven for the wealthy. I think they're trying to phase out. I think Thailand's gone through its period of backpackers and, you know, the cheap charlies. They want to kind of attract a much richer audience. Okay, so I think Kim's channel is called Discovering History, so you should be able to find that easy enough, but he might come back and confirm that. All right, anyway, cheers, guys. Number 2. I'm trying to hold out for the loo another 15 minutes. I might be okay. Right, V, £1,000 a week will do. So, you know, if you've just joined us, we're talking about how much you need to get by in Thailand, but there's a big difference between retiring and going out there for a blowout on vacation, isn't there? So let's not talk about the retirement side of things, because we've done it. It's dusted. You know, we've talked about it a lot of weeks, and, you know, people are sort of saying what they spend when they're there. Okay. Right. Right, Nick, if those guys living on 500 a month were living like kings as they claim, why do they beg for donations and shamelessly? Well, I ask for donations occasionally. I don't beg. I don't monetize the channel. But if you do YouTube, it's just something you do. I mean, it takes a lot of time. And you hope, you know, if people appreciate it, they'll buy you a beer and send you $10. And everybody does it. But I know what you mean. Philip, is it Dua? I can't pronounce it. Philip, hi. Always watch your videos. Thanks, Philip. Glad to have you on board. Right, Paul McNeil. How much is medication? I'm sure it depends on what meds, but maybe you could give an example. Well, I did do, didn't I, in that example where I got sick in Hua Hin. I went to see the doctor. I got a course of antibiotics for a stomach bug, and it was about 800 baht, £20, £21. Paul Hoskins, I'm not rich. I save a little bit each week. Sanchez, Siam, I am what size of grey goose? Okay, he's private conversation going on there. Roy Gold, I'm just going back to some of the older comments. I'll jump forward again after this. Once you live in Thailand, your budget, excuse me. Once you live in Thailand, your budget drops like a stone, especially once you have a long-term girlfriend. I don't drink and eat much foreign food. About £1,200 is about a minimum for a good life. Do you know what? Roy's actually touched on a very good point there, because if you're going to retire or you live in Thailand, it's different if you're a couple, say if you're a married couple from the UK or the US, whatever, and you decide both of you are going to go out there, get an apartment as a married couple, and you're going to try and enjoy life. You know, it's better weather. You can use a swimming pool. That's something else. You can budget. But if you're a single guy, it doesn't matter what age you are, you're more than likely going to hook up with a Thai girlfriend. And the reason for that is nobody wants to live on their own or be on their own permanently. We all like company. We're all human. And if you're retired out there, the last thing you can do is start go out shopping for young ladies every other night, if you know what I mean, because it'll just eat through your budget. So what most guys do is they'll hook up with a nice Thai girl maybe, and unfortunately, I don't know what it is when you sort of hook up with a Thai girl. From what I've seen of friends, you tend to marry the whole family. So whenever there's issues with money, you're expected to help out. But that's how it is. So yeah, when you budget, you've got to think about this. You will probably have a Thai girlfriend, and you will spend a lot more money than you budgeted. I don't know how much to advise to budget. Maybe double what you originally budgeted. Okay, so let's jump forward to the later comments. If you've just joined us, guys, welcome. It's still 165 in the chat, and as you can see, I've managed to fix the background. Right, Alex, in the US, you'd pay $50 for 5 minutes companionship in a gentleman's club. Yeah, but would you want to? I mean, I went to a strip club in California. I went. I think I mentioned last week when that movie Casino with Robert De Niro came out. We watched that, me and a few friends, and we said, let's go there and have a look. And we went there. But on the way, we kind of stopped over in California, and we went to visit. We wanted to see what we don't have strip clubs in the UK like they have in America. And we wanted to see what they were like and just have a look, basically. And yeah, it was interesting, but it wasn't anything that, I mean, it was interesting to see as a strip club, but it didn't do anything for me. Really, honestly, it didn't. And I can imagine you'd need very deep pockets if you were into that sort of thing. So, Paul, can you discuss medication costs? Yeah, you can't really, because it's just such a wide range, isn't it? I mean, if you had a heart attack and you went to hospital, you're looking at 200,000 baht. You can convert that on Google. Right, Siam, I am welcome. Bit late into the chat. Nice to have you anyway. 1.75 million. Same $30 a bottle at store. Some clubs only let you in if you commit to a bottle service. Yeah, that's how it is in Thailand. So if you go to some clubs there, they insist that it's not like the UK or US where you can go in and just buy a beer. You can probably later, but some of the clubs will say, well, you've got to buy a bottle and we supply the mixers for free. Damien, no, I ain't got a squeaky door and I won't be bringing out any pork pies. But Siam, I don't recall bottle service in Bangkok, RCA, but don't restrict who gets in. Okay. Okay, so Nietzsche said it's a 3.5-star rated hotel. Okay, so on Google it says it's a 5-star hotel. The video I watched, he said it's a 5-star hotel. I just thought it was quite interesting that how cheap it was. I haven't gone in and like double checked it to make sure that's 100% true, but that's what the video said. It was a 5-star hotel. I took it on face value, and that's what Google said it was. But maybe you know something we don't know. And he says the place really isn't that nice, but for 700 and how much was it? 736 baht a night. I mean, I stay in a budget hotel on Soi 4 off the Sukhumvit, and I pay 1,400 baht a night. I know it's not the cheapest hotel along there. I've got into this before, but I've been staying there forever and a day, and the Thai staff there are like family, so I don't mind. But it's just giving you a comparison: 1,400 baht for a budget no-star Thai hotel, as opposed to £17 a night for a supposedly 5-star. Even 3.5 stars good. Right, Roy Gold. At the moment, I'm staying at the Hilton on Karon Beach, Phuket. I got upgraded free breakfast for 3,300 baht for 2 nights. Is that each night or for the 2 nights? Meaning, is it 6,600 baht for the 2 nights or 3,300 baht? Barack Obama, nice to see you tonight. Glad to see you're sitting back in Patio, Peter. Yeah, let's change this to something a little bit. I'm going to line up a lot of pictures for next week. Let's get this one back up. You like this? There's a bit of a delay for you guys, but I'm looking at it now. Should change in about 10 seconds. Right, see, I am. There you go. Look at that, guys. I'll sit back there. Look. I'll leave that for a few minutes. Right, CMIM. Peter, you get vaccinated yet? You come in late to the chat because I meant this is what we spoke about at the beginning. Yeah, I've had 1 jab so far. I turned 59 on Wednesday, which means I'm in Group 8 sometime in April for me. Yeah, I had mine last week. They sent me a text because I'm now 60. I'm 61 in April. I'm a dinosaur, so it's a privilege of being an old fart. Right. OTC. Roy, can I have your email address so I can email you on questions I have before I come to Thailand? Yeah, the only thing is on chat, if you try to leave an email address, YouTube might not let it go through. They've got some funny rules like that. It's like when you're on comments, if people put links to other channels, they don't, they don't publish them unless they're approved first. Okay. Barack Obama, you should enable super chats. It will allow people to help with the upkeep of the channel. Yeah, I know. There's a couple of links below. You can, I mean, if people like what I do, they can, you don't have to be a PayPal. I don't want to be an e-beggar, but I always put links in all the videos, including this one. If you click it, it goes to my PayPal. You don't have to be a member of PayPal. You can chuck $5, $10 if you're feeling generous, and I do appreciate it. But I'm not going to get into the super chats now because it's kind of almost like I'm not going to go there because I know people who do it. Right. Runa Olsen, a lovely background, Peter. Yeah, it brings back memories, doesn't it? There's that bar there, the Happy Go-Go. That has been there for probably 30 years, and it's my favorite go-go bar. Like, I don't go to go-go bars very often because I'm old now, but if I do occasionally want to venture into one, I still like to go into this one. Still one of the best. Alex, a lot of people coming on this picture now saying it's inspiring, but I purposely had to get one where that cut the people out because Oh, I just see something that made me spit my beer out. Right, Peter, how many bar-girl relationships have you had? Haven't had any. I'm married. To Sanchez, I paid around €8.50 for a Heineken 0.25. I didn't know the produce this size in Dubai some years ago. I still feel robbed and wrapped. Yeah, Daniel Mills a good point. He says, why give Google 30% of the super chat donation? Yeah, it's true. We're talking about drinks in Thailand now. I mean, I don't want to keep saying the old days, it was good back then, but it was because, the exchange rate was really good. Back then you got nearly 80 baht to a pound. Now it's about 40. It's creeping up. It's about 42. When I was there last year, end of last year, it was 36. It was tragic, horrible. You give them £100 to get 3,600 baht back. Unbelievable. If it got up to 50, I'll be really happy. But 40 I can deal with, but less than 40, it's really, it's not good. But drinks they're really expensive now. I mean, if you go to retire in Thailand and you're not going out to go-go bars and, touristy areas, you're buying your Leo in 7-Eleven. I mean, I was buying a can of 7-Eleven, about that size, I think 440 ml, maybe slightly bigger. Last year in Leo was about 52 baht. You can get, I think the Singer beer might be slightly cheaper. But when you go out to these places, these entertainment zones, some of these places now, they're charging up to 200 baht for a drink. And if you put that in perspective, 200 baht, what's that? You're talking £5 for a beer, right? And when I say a beer, I'm talking about a small bottle of Heineken, something like that, £5. Now, okay, you've got visual entertainment that you don't get anywhere else in the world. So I'm not complaining about it. And you are on holiday most of the time, so it shouldn't be an issue. But I'm just trying to point out it's not cheap anymore because the exchange rate is very poor, even though it's starting to get better. And drinks are very, very expensive now. And there's that old thing with the ladies' drinks. They got very, very clever now. Like I said to you, somebody was asking me about the ladies' drinks. In the old days, you'd go in and they weren't so pushy. But if you did want to sit with a lady and have some company, you'd buy her a drink. She'd come back with a champagne glass with Coca-Cola in it. And it was all a bit silly, really, and she'd sit with you for about 15 minutes, and then it was up to you if you wanted to continue. But nowadays, I mean, they're just so hardcore. I mean, a lot of guys get caught out because they'll offer a drink to a girl, and she'll come back with a vodka Red Bull, and the guy just thinks spirit and a mixer. It ain't, guys. It's 2 drinks, and if you're talking a lady's drink at 200 baht, and they know the most expensive drinks to order now because they get a cut of it. So you're talking maybe 200. So you order a round of drinks. So you order a beer, that's 200 baht, and her drink, she's ordered a vodka Red Bull, which is 400 baht, 600 baht. What's that? 12 quid. You know, you've got to be so careful. And then once you buy one, it's like a Shark Tank, isn't it? The mama son starts hanging around. She wants one. I seen a guy one night. He was throwing money around like there was no tomorrow. I actually seen the DJ jump out of his booth and he got a drink. But you know, what percentage does PayPal take? From what I remember, it's 2.6% plus 20 pence, if that makes sense. So to make easy numbers, on £100 they take £2.20 plus 20 pence, so £2.40. Okay, Chaya Pump says 3% to 5%. So maybe I'm going on the figures from when I used to sell products on eBay and I used to get people paying by PayPal. Maybe it's different for other things. Paul Hoskins, Soy Cowboy was 95 till 9 p.m. Then it was 195. No, Paul, you're talking about the happy hours, aren't you? And as I mentioned last week, and I think the week before, Tilak Bar on Soy Cowboy has a very, very good happy hour. I'll make it quick because I don't want to repeat myself. But you can go in there and get a draft pint of Heineken or Singer or whatever it is. It's really cold. It's in a nice glass and it's half price. It's like 90 baht, like you say. And, you know, when they stop the happy hour at 10 o'clock, if you want to order 3 in and say, look, I'll buy 3, but bring them, you know, you could be drinking them to 11. You can't, you know, if you tried to do it till 1 and you were taking the piss a little bit, they wouldn't do it. But what you got to remember, guys, you single guys out there, if you go into a bar and it's happy hour and you ask how much is a Heineken, they tell you 99 baht for a pint. You think, wow, yippee. Okay, lady comes up, yeah, I'll buy a drink, no problem. It's happy hour. You think, well, it's only 100 baht. I'll buy her 3. I'll have 3. Happy days. No. This is what catches a lot of guys out. When you go into a bar, any bar, and it's happy hour, yes, your drink is half price, but there is no happy hour on the ladies' drinks. And they don't go out of their way to tell you that. So when you buy 3 drinks for yourself, 3 drinks for her, you've actually paid double to what you're paying on your own drinks. Okay, so be careful at that one. Right, lots of comments from the Polosk niche. Is it? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Niche. Right. What percentage does PayPal take? We'll read that one. I hope Peter and Pontiff meet up someday and do a stream. Not sure who Pontiff is or Pontiff. I watched quite. Hang on. Yeah, I watched. I forget the name of the channel, but he's a guy in Patio. He did a budget video, and he said he'd lived in Patio for about 10 years. He's got quite a nice style of presentation. He talks about bar prices, girls, that sort of thing. But he does interviews with people in Patio. And do you remember we talked about favorite YouTubers a couple of times? And I'd actually made the point and said, look, my favorite YouTubers are not particularly people who've got 70, 80,000 subscribers, 100, 200,000 subscribers. Just because I've got that many subscribers, it means they're well liked by a lot of people. But it doesn't mean people who've got 5, 10, 15,000 subscribers are not interested. This guy in Patio, I think he's got 12, 13,000. I wish I could remember his name, but I thought his videos were very good. He had a very good way of presenting them. I left a comment on his, I actually subscribed to the channel just to see what he puts out. I didn't have time to go through his old videos, but I watched 2 and yeah, not bad. And he's only got 12 or 13,000. Nick, OTC, I read about guys skipping the bar fine and taking care of business in the restroom. No, not in the restroom. That doesn't happen. What happens is there's a social media, there's an app, you know, like we have WhatsApp here, it's Line over there. What a lot of people are doing now, all the girls have got Line on their phones and they know people now, they don't want to pay these expensive bar fines. They don't want to, they just don't want to be ripped off. And the girls still want to make money. They're not bothered too much about the bar. So what happens is a guy will get a girl, have a drink with her. He'll say, what's your Line ID? He'll Q code it. He's got her number and then he'll give her a ring later or, you know, when you finish, he'll meet up with her. And, you know, they'll get in a lot of trouble if they get caught doing that. You know, the bars come down hard on that, but a lot of people do it now. But I've never heard about, you know, in a restroom. You wouldn't get away with it in a restroom. They're just so busy. Right, how long have we been on now? Right, we're coming up for 2 hours, so I'm going to wrap this up soon. Just read out a few more of your comments. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. It's always great to do a live stream because it's not me putting out a video and just telling you what I know. It's nice to get the feedback and know what you want to hear about. And have a beer with you guys. Cheers. Right, Mr. The best. some guys' usernames are quite funny on YouTube, but the best one I ever had was a guy. His actual username was Bar Girls Lives Matter. I thought that was quite funny. Right, Mr. What is your name? I know guys that stay in Patio for a month and bring 10 to 15,000 US dollars for fun. Yeah, absolutely. You can get through it. You know, I mean, if you're one of those guys, you walk into a bar, you buy the basket of ping pong balls. Each one is worth 20 baht. And guys throw them at the stage. It's like a feeding frenzy. Well, these guys, they'll do that in every bar. They'll sit with half a dozen girls and buy them all drinks, the mamas and all the rest of it. And, they'll eat, the best of the best wherever they go. They're not watching budgets. They want a good time. So, yeah, of course. Chris Falk, is it possible to just bar find a girl I find interesting and leave without buying her drinks first? No, it doesn't work like that, Chris. I mean, you've got to, if you want to talk to a girl, you've got to buy her a drink, because the mammoth is not going to allow you to take up her time if you're not buying a drink, because a percentage of that. So you're going to go in, you're going to see a pretty girl that you like, you invite her for a drink, you have a drink with her, and that's when you'll discuss whether you want to spend time with her, go for a meal or something after the bar closes, or you can take her out the bar if you pay the bar fine. But that's how it works, because she doesn't make any money on drinks that you buy her outside the bar. If they get a percentage of the drinks, it's not about the drinks. They make money. Some girls get so many drinks bought they don't need to go off with guys because they can live off the drinks. They're very popular girls. Thanks, Damien. Up to me, yeah. All right, I'm going to wrap it up soon. Just say hi to everybody. I haven't said hi to Darren, Drew. Yeah, going to try and do them the live stream is going to try and do them every Saturday, and maybe hopefully do one or two from Thailand eventually. Nick Frankel, cheers from California, enjoying a cold IPA, 3 p.m. over here. Yeah, cheers to you, Nick. I'm on the Kronenberg. Up to me, take 5,000 a month, already paid my condo money, just partying and ladies and food. Okay. I mean, you don't have to go on mega bucks. You can have a reasonable vacation on less money. It depends. One of the biggest things people don't account for, if you do want to spend time with the ladies, that's a big portion of your budget. But if you're one of those guys, you just want to go out there, soak up the sun, sit by the swimming pool. Yeah, you go out and have some beers in the evening, and maybe you might meet somebody once a week, something like that. Then you can do it on a reasonably low budget, especially if you're staying in a budget hotel and you eat. They've got lots and lots of great little cafes around Patio that serve Western and Thai food. And they're not, people say, oh, they're expensive. It's a tourist area, but they're not bad. Yeah, there must be another conversation on here. Chayam Farang, technically you need a work permit to put content on YouTube in Thailand. It's not enforced yet, but yeah, that's true. It used to be the thing, like especially with bar managers and foreign bar managers, they'd go out on a tourist visa, just keep renewing it, going over the border, but they were actually working. But they come down very, very hard on people now, very hard. And I've even known the police to use foreigners to catch some foreigners who are working, set them up, as it were. So if you ever think about going to Thailand for any kind of work, just don't risk it, guys. It's not worth it. Right, I don't want to get in. There's a lot of stuff coming up about bar girls and freelancers and all that. I don't want to turn it into a channel that's a kind of, that kind of. I talk about all things Thailand. I don't mind talking a little bit about it, but I don't want to turn it into a kind of, almost, what I'm trying to say. Right. Right, Haywood Jablomi used to live in Fontuki and Molesto. Yeah, only had 2 beers, get that. Damien Simmons, I'm hoping you can do a live stream in my village in Buriram. Well, if I do, you're doing it with me, Damien. Daniel Mills, far easier to get marriage, message girls, line ID. Yeah, I know loads of people do it. So it's Line, Line, that's the app. Daniel says it's far easier to get message girls, line ID, and arrange a private massage back at the hotel later. I really can be asked with the bar situation. It's expensive. Up to me, I save all year. I go party like a rock star. Why not? You work hard, go there with a pocket full of cash. And like I said in one of my videos, guys, it's a fantasy. Don't try and take it home with you. Forget all this texting and trying to carry on the conversation with the, you know, the Patio babe of your dreams. Just get on the plane and forget about it. Work hard, save your money, go back and have another fantasy. Don't get into all this long distance relationship stuff. It doesn't work. You'll get burnt. OTC, thanks. Checks in the post. Bottle Baber, Peter, Cambodia or Thailand? No. Well, if you're talking about choice, definitely Thailand. I've been to Cambodia, but it was all right. I'm on overtime now. 2 hours. Who does a live stream for 2 hours, 5 minutes? I might finish his spear. Kev Kloster, what happened to him? Yeah, that's it. That's what I was trying to say. Northern Lights, red light channel. I don't want to become a red light channel. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about anything, can't we? We talk about Patio and all that. I mean, we've all done it, but I don't want it to be just a subject on, you know, a Mongoose channel, as it were. Right, Haywood Joe Blow me. Have you ever been to the Ukraine? Beautiful women there. I haven't been to anywhere. The only place I've been to in Eastern Europe, it's really weird because I've got this hobby. I like anything World War II. You know, we've got a lot of old airfields from the war around here. I like to go and explore them. And with a friend, I flew into Leipzig a couple of years ago. We rented a car and we drove to a village called Kolditz. It's where they have the castle where they kept all the airmen who were persistent escapers. There was a movie and a TV show in the 70s, and we went there for the day. The day after that, we went to one of the concentration camps. It was the one where the Americans dragged the local population up to see what the Nazis had been doing. We did that for a couple of days. So it wasn't kind of like the sort of holiday you'd take your family on, but that's the only time I went to Europe, really. Damien, Buriram live. Yeah, I mean, I always thought Buriram was a tiny little place, but from what I've been hearing, it's quite a happening place now. It's growing, and it's, you know, you've got the speedway up there. Nick Franco, Odessa was nice, but I was lost the whole time as I learned very little Ukraine. That's a great movie, Odessa. Talking about World War II and all that. It's I won't get into it. Just if you're into that, Odessa, it's an old 80s film, really good. Similar to The Boys from Brazil. That's another good one with Gregory Peck, where I won't talk about it here, but go and have a look at it. No, I haven't. Guru Fabi one. No, I haven't. No. Yeah, Cheyenne Frank says, you're right about the atmosphere of Patio, but I couldn't live there. You probably could, but you wouldn't live on the beach road. So what we were saying earlier, you know, about what do you miss about Thailand is that atmosphere of Patio, isn't it? You know, when you go out on the beach road, you can smell the dirty drains and the seawater, and you've got all the mobile phone users, if you know what I mean, on the seafront, and all the soys are buzzing and the bars are buzzing, and it's just that whole atmosphere, isn't it? So you're saying you couldn't live there? Well, you could, but you wouldn't live around that area. You'd go and live in Jomtien, or you'd go and live into town, and you wouldn't, you know, you'd probably go on once a week on a Saturday or something. You'd find out where all the happy hour. You'd be a balloon chaser, wouldn't you? You'd be looking for the bars with the balloons, with the happy hours and everything. I am out. IOM tilt. Used EasyJet. I've lost you now. Where are we? Used EasyJet. They only contact women close to cheap airports. Blimey. Regards from Iceland. Listen to almost all your love stories. Thanks. Is it Ina? Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. Kev Kloster, Rayon Rules. Yeah, I went to Rayon once. It's very, very nice seaside beach town, a little bit like Chatham, but the problem is it can get a little bit boring. You know, I mean, we all like to lay on a beach for a day, but it can get a bit boring. Rayon's got a Novotel now, hasn't it? It's a nice town, but it's just not, I couldn't live there. Sanchez, Leipzig. It's very interesting, actually. It was like going back in time. Right, are we about done, guys? Patio. Is Patio a lot better than Patong? it's different. Patio is like Patong on steroids. I mean, it's just totally different. It's like comparing Las Vegas to, I don't know, I can't think of anywhere to compare it to. It's totally different. Really, I mean, go and have a look at a load of videos about Phuket where you mentioned there, and then look at Patio. I think you'll get the message. Ina, you lived in Thailand for 7 or 8 years. Why did you move back? Well, I've been visiting. I did live in Thailand for many years. I lived in Phuket, in Patio. I lived in Bangkok, several of the stories long story of it. And, you know, I've been visiting since the early 90s. I still visit now. The reason I moved back, because I'm married. My wife is from Korea. She was with me in Bangkok. And I was having, we had our children. And the thing about Thailand, it's a great country, but you need a lot of money. So if you put children through a decent school, you've got to pay everything. It's a lot of money per term. And, you know, the medical and everything. And, you know, at that time, I just decided it would be a good move to come back to the UK so we could use the national health, we could use the schools. And, you know, what I started doing especially was making more and more trips to visit Thailand. So I've got a base in the UK and visit, but hopefully retire out there one day. Las Vegas to Reno, yeah, good example. Okay, Nige would enjoy the bar stories, of course, but have also loved your clips into Thai life and a piece you did on cultural misunderstandings recently. Variety keeps the channel fresh. It's really difficult, guys. I mean, I don't want you to go and get the tissue or break out the violins, but, you know, when you're doing a channel about a country that's 6,000 miles away and you just can't get back, it is really difficult. And I think if you hadn't have sent me those stories, I don't think I'll be running now, because I've only just started live streaming. Because I'm 61, I find it a little bit hard to get. If you're going to do something, you've got to do it properly, haven't you? And I find it really difficult, the technical side of it. I mean, you're looking now at me with a picture of Walker Street in the background. The sound's coming over nice and clear. We've got the messages coming up. It all seems easy and everyone does it. But I find it a challenge to get to this stage. And, you know, the last two, I had that green screen. It looked terrible. But it's difficult. You know, I mean, when I keep saying this, when I started my channel, I was in Hua Hin. This all crap all happened. I thought 3 months maximum. It's been over a year. There is a light at the end of the tunnel now from what I read out earlier. I've had my jab. It seems to be going the right way. I've kept it going. I've got to say a big thanks to all you guys for your contribution. I've started these live streams now because it's better than watching the TV, and hopefully I'm sort of a little bit entertained to you guys. But yeah, you know, I mean, so thanks for all your help. I try and keep it going. But all I was going to say is when you start off doing things to fill in, like what videos can you come up? You're going to do 20 scams you'll get in Thailand, 20 do's and don'ts in Thailand, 20 good restaurants to eat in Sukhumvit, 10 places to get your hair cut. You know, I mean, where does it end? You get to the point and you think, well, what the hell am I going to do? I mean, it's not like I'm the only Thailand vlogger. There's some great channels now. I mean, if you go onto YouTube, there's people in Thailand now, and they're producing videos that are almost good enough to go on mainstream TV. But that doesn't mean there's not a place for people like me and Ed Sweeney and Lander Smiles and whoever else out there. You know, all the channels. You know, like I said before, you've got to like the person, haven't you? But you know, like I said, I've got light. Sorry to go on. I'm just saying I can see light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully one day, I'm sure if you've been with me from day one, you'll see me in somewhere like chat. I'm making a video, and you think it just won't gel because you're so used to seeing me with that in the background, something like that. But let's hope that day comes. Yeah, Nick, I'll break out the tissue and lotion. Naughty, keep it clean now. Right. Big up for Eyes of Thai, also Peter. Yeah, there's loads of there's absolutely loads of good channels, and like I keep saying to you, just because somebody doesn't have 50, 70, 80,000 subscribers, it doesn't mean they're not a good channel. The guy I was watching in Patio, excellent channel, and he's got 12,000 subscribers. Right. Okay, I can't believe that I've been talking for over 2 hours, 2 hours 13 minutes. Black Bolt, the best was 20 unbelievable stories told by expats. I did 2 of them. That was the ones where you go into a bar in Patio and the guy says he's an ex-SAS, or he was a bodyguard for Bill Clinton, or he was he's walking around with a stained T-shirt with Singer beer on it and a pair of flip-flops. You know. Okay, right. Cheers, everyone. I think that's going to be about it. What we got now? 2 hours 14. Yeah, I'm going to start saying goodnight to everybody now. As always, I'm not going to list everybody separately. But it's been a good chat. We've still got 140 people here. You know, if you'd like to see me make any videos that I can make in the UK, you know, that I haven't ever made, you can you know, suggest them. And you know, I'll be back next Saturday for another live chat, same time, 9 p.m. I didn't do the one with Simon today on the other channel. Simon got pulled away on business. I don't know whether he'll be back to do it next week, but we'll just have to see. That's all in his hands, isn't it? Not ours. All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now, that's a long time, isn't it? All right. And I haven't got to go to the loo yet. So I bid you all good night. Thanks for stopping by. And I'm going to end this right now.